All right. Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm glad that you're watching Afrique 24-hour TV, and thank you for getting your time and tuning in to this wonderful show. Today is another evening that we meet here. So, welcome everybody. I can see Goodyear is already there, Esther Stahl is already there, among others who are joining us. So, if you're joining us, kindly ensure that you subscribe to our channel, that is Africa 24-hour TV. This is our daily political talk show, a talk show that gives us an opportunity to interact with the most things that are affecting our country in politics, economy, health, and even social and cultural life. So, welcome. Today is another fine day. I know there are some EPL games going on. Goodyear is yet to update me. I don't know if his team is playing today, and because already Arsenal is back on top of the league and such kind of stories. So karibuni sana. If you are joining me and you've not subscribed to Afrique, kindly ensure that you have subscribed to Afrique 24-hour TV. So I know there's a lot that is happening outside there. There's a lot that people are yet to discuss, and there's a lot that is happening in the world of politics. But I'll just want us to start by looking at something that is very, 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 very much important to this country, and this is the matters health. So before we get into the politics of inheritance, the party politics, because of course we know this month of April, the ODM party is going to have some grassroots elections in some selected counties, different days from 27th of April 2024. We're also going to have polls, grassroots elections in the UDA party. And we also know that Dabadi have also he also hinted that there is going to be an earthquake whereby members of ANC are going to defect to UDA. It's also interesting that when you go to Meru, their governor, who is an independent candidate, Kawira Mwangaza, I think also wants to participate in the UDA by elections. And in participating in these by elections, the MCS, they are telling them that if the UDA MCS, that if you are really serious and you want to participate in UDA elections, the grassroots elections, then you need to show us proof. You need to prove to us that you've joined UDA, and that proof can only be done when you go to the register of political parties and say that I'm no longer independent candidate and I've now joined UDA. And the MCs obviously are tricking her because they know they'll use that one against her to do what, to impeach her, because it's against the law. Defecting from one party to another. That is why the people who are normally don't defect, but they are deemed to have defected because of their actions. But legally, they don't do the paperwork. So it's hard. It's hard over there. So before we go to that politics, I can see Goodyear is telling me that Liverpool FC is having 1-1. Is it 1-1 or 2-1? Okay, Isulu, let it be. It is what it is. Jeff Onyapidi, karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana. And ensure you tell me where you are joining from, as you just type and send greetings and your concerns there. Ensure that you also tell me from which part of the world, not which part of the country. I know people in different parts of the world, people in different countries. There's some in Africa, like us here. There are some also joining us from overseas. There are someone joining us from Europe. There's someone joining us from Australia, and there's someone also joining us from America, both north and southern parts. So let me know where you are joining me from. It seems the fans of Liverpool are really happy. I can see how Goodyear is really responding to that top of the game, forgetting that we're having some other games. I can also see some of the panelists here telling me that, wait, we are finishing this Chelsea game. We are joining the discussion. The discussion is gonna be hot, but we are first of all finishing. We are first of all finishing this game. Okay, it's okay. You keep on finish watching the game, then you join here. I want us to look at this health, the state of the health in this country. Yeah, the health talk. That's the first thing. The sudden fall of health department under CS Nakhumicha. And remember the major topic of discussion today, Babu Owino vowed to do what? He vowed to file a motion seeking removal of one CS, Susan Nakhumicha. And maybe if I can be able to, let me see if I can be able to get for you that motion. He already filed a notice. He already did it. He already filed a notice. And this is what that motion says. It was done 4th April 2024. That is today. He threatened yesterday, but he made it. He made sure that that one happened today. Babu Owino. Babu Owino is the member of Parliament of Embakasi East. Yes, for those people who don't know, Babu Owino, the one who is censoring a motion to impeach or to remove from office CS Susan Nakhumicha. That man is MP Embakasi East. He is serving his second term. He was one of the longest serving Sonu chair, if I'm not wrong. So today, April 4th, 2024, Babu Owino, Honorable Babu Owino wrote this to the clerk of the National Assembly. Of course, the clerk of the National Assembly, for those people who don't know, is somebody called Mr. Samuel Njoroge, CBS. Dear sir, notice of motion of removal of the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Health, Susan Nakhumicha. Pursuant to Article 152.6 of the Constitution, as read together with the Standing Order 66, I wish to notify you of my intention to move a special motion for removal of the Cabinet Secretary for Health from office on two grounds, namely, number one, gross violation of Article 26.1 and 43.1A of the Constitution, and two, incompetence. The above grounds are based on the following particulars. As a result of the doctors' strike, majority of Kenyans' right to life as well as the right to highest attainable standard of health has been grossly violated since the strike began. That is 15th March 2024. The strike has been there for more than 2 weeks right now. Scores of Kenyans have been unable to access Medicare. In dire cases, some have even lost lives. The CS exhibited incompetence that has failed to avert the doctors' strike, which has now entered the third week. The CS has failed to honor the doctors' collective bargaining agreement, that is CBA, that has instead taken hard line and instead he is threatening the striking doctors. Number three, the CS further failed to appreciate the seriousness of the strike and has failed to provide a lasting solution to settle the demands of the medics, including hiring of interns, trainee doctors, and payment of salary arrears. So I'll be moving a motion and seek the resolution of the House to request His Excellency President to dismiss Secretary from office. That is Honorable Owino Paul Ongele. That is the one we traditionally call Babu Owino. I told you Babu Owino is the member of Parliament in Bakasi East. So Babu Owino is moving a motion to remove from office the CS Health. That is honorable, not honorable. Actually, she contested for women rep in Trans-Nzoia and she was a member of Ford Kenya. And you have also, it's so funny. I don't know how this one is going to be because this motion will be discussed in the parliament and the speaker there is Moses Wetangula, the party leader of Ford Kenya. And remember, Nakhumicha vied on Ford Kenya ticket. She vied on Wetangula's ticket, of which Wetangula was her party leader. And you've been seeing her going to funerals, harambes, homecomings, baby showers together with the speaker. So the same speaker is the one who is going to preside over her impeachment or her removal from office motion that has been moved by Babu Owino. So I want us to look at the state of health in this country. We know we have so many things that the government prides itself of doing. The government has been telling us how they did this thing called the community health workers, the CHWs, and we've been told that these CHWs now there is each and every village has got one. And if you remember, the president said that no Kenya, will get sick and fail to get a medication. You when you feel sick, you don't need to go to the hospital direct. You can as well get these community health workers at your nearest homestead. Then they give you Panadol, Wakupime, pressure, and such kind of things. There's also this thing that they also attribute to themselves, something called the universal health care, whereby the CS and the members involved claim that this universal health care is really helping to ensure that Kenyans, and they're also changing the NHIF so that Kenyans who cannot be able to pay for the medication can get free medication, and the ones who can be able to pay, the ones who are paying 500 are going to pay less than that, like 300 and something like that. So I don't know your take on it, if it's really impacted positively on the Department of Health, now that we see this department is characterized by doctors strike. Various departments are really striking. And remember, on Tuesday, the government asked the doctors to end their strike in a statement that they issued, saying that the salary arrears have been paid and the trainee doctors will be hired from Thursday this week, which I think is today, at the cost of 2.4 billion. Yeah. And the doctors declined the proposal in total. They said they are declining everything. That one is according to Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union chairman Abidan Mwachie. He wrote on the social media X, the one that we used to call Twitter, adding that the government had not paying salary arrears. So the walkout, which has been compounded by a strike by clinical officer, clinical officers also joined this strike this week. This thing have left patients struggling to access care from expensive private hospitals, which has led to worsening of chronic illness and even death. We know that our hospitals, the public hospitals, have been having challenges. That are a fact. But despite the challenges that have always been there, somebody is always guaranteed that there's some basic services that you're going to get, like when you want the doctor's consultation. The problem has always been maybe things to do with the medicine and such kind of things, but the nurses are always there. Even if the drugs are not there, the syringes are not there, you are told to go and buy them outside. But the doctors and the medics are always there to examine you and give you direction, though you'll have to spend your money. But at this moment, these medics are not in the hospital. So what happens? This hospital, first of all, doesn't have medicine. Number two, they don't have the manpower, the human resource. So it's really sickening, and we can say that the country is sick. I see somebody in the comment section telling me that the problem started when the government decided to bring Benny Hinn to come and heal the nation, and they forgot that we're having doctors who need to treat the sick. So the nation is sick. The nation is sick. The nation is sick, and the nation is. I don't want to say the nation is dying, but things are not right. The strike is in week 3. The lily or the signs of strikes being called off are not there. Everybody is standing their ground. The doctors are saying that the arrears the doctors are demanding arose from 2017 collective bargaining agreement, that is the CBA in 2017. And the doctors are now demanding the provision of adequate medical insurance cover for themselves and their dependents. So they want their arrears. They want the employment of interns. And when you talk of interns are not students. These are doctors who've been completely trained. So they are called interns because they're working for the first time so that they can gain maybe that employment experience, but they've been completely trained. Apart from that, these doctors are also demanding adequate medical insurance cover for themselves and their dependents. And they also want the government to address frequent delays in salary payment and to start paying doctors who work in public hospitals as part of their higher degree courses. Those people who've done medicine and related courses, they'll tell you it's the most expensive. It's the most expensive, time consuming. Yeah. And you need to have brains. You need to have brains. So Kenyan's health sector, I think it's the doctors, according to the doctors, they claim it is underfunded and understaffed and is routined by strikes. Each and every time we see strikes at the county levels, at the national levels. So this time round, It's really one of the longest strikes that we are seeing. We don't know what the government is going to do, but the president has been silent on this. But people are now calling on the president to speak on it. And how do they expect the president to speak? Because the president is not the cabinet secretary of health. Somebody has been assigned the duty. So it means somebody is not doing their duty well. And doing the duty well doesn't mean that the CS gets to the theaters or the CS gets to the hospitals, down the, how do you call it, a dust coat and start treating patients. It means the CS should provide guidance, get a way of sitting down with these doctors and sorting out this issue. But as it turns out, it's claimed that the CS is arrogant and is chest thumping. I'll play for you one of the videos that the CS was chest thumping. Goodyear keeps on updating me. Yes, Liverpool is leading 3-1. But we still have many games remaining. So let us listen to this as we proceed to our discussion. I'll just want to play for you this video. That is when Babu Owino was threatening to censor motion.
Public hospital, you find people are not being attended to, doctors are on strike, and people are dying. There are emergencies on a daily basis. You see accidents on our roads. Nobody can be attended to in hospitals. We have our mothers who are expectant, who are supposed to deliver. Nobody is attending to them. We have different situations in different hospitals, and nobody is attending to them. And therefore, the situation is so bad, and we must fight this. And we as members of parliament, we are also in agreement that should the government refuse to listen to the doctors' plight, we will also join them on the mandamanos. We will be with them on the streets to ensure that they demand that which is rightfully theirs. And we want to put pressure on the government so that our people don't suffer on the ground. We don't want the government to demand. You must come with the rule of equals and opposites. Number one, invite, do not demand. So when the government is demanding that doctors must go back, what are they trying to do? And number two, when you push, we means the KMPDU, doctors and members of parliament, when you push as the government, we will push. When you pull, we will resist. When you demand, we will refuse. And when you insist, we will turn you down. We want this defunct government to move with speed. The president should not leave the country when there's a serious crisis, when people are dying. The health ministry is unhealthy. The health ministry is sick. The country is sick. And therefore, as a result of that, we have come up with an impeachment motion. We are going back on Tuesday to Parliament. And this is the letter that we've sent to the clerk of the National Assembly so far on an impeachment motion that we want to impeach the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Nakhumicha, and we want her to continue staying at the funerals where she's enjoying staying instead of meeting the doctors and doing her job. So the letter reads, notice of motion, the removal of the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Health, Susan Nakhumicha. Pursuant to Article 152(6) of the Constitution, as read with Standing Order 66, I wish to notify you of the intention to move a special motion for removal of the Cabinet Secretary for Health from office on two grounds, namely, number one, gross violation of Articles 26(1) and 43(1)(a) of the Constitution, which provides for the right to the highest attainable standard of health respectively, and two, incompetence. The Cabinet Secretary, the above grounds are based on the following particulars. The Cabinet Secretary has failed to appreciate the seriousness of the strike and has failed to provide a lasting solution to settle the demands of the medics, including hiring of trainee doctors and payment of salary arrears. Number two, the CS failed to avert the doctor strike, which has now entered its third week. Those are 21 days. The CS has instead taken a hard line and is instead threatening the striking doctors with immediate sacking and replacement. And therefore, we shall disappoint her and we want the president to appoint somebody else. Number 3, as a result of the doctor strike, scores of Kenyans have been unable to access medical care, and in dire cases, some Kenyans have lost their lives. I will be moving this motion and seek solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. When you look at Parliament, as at now, all members of Parliament, it is their constituents who are affected. It is their constituents who are sick and tired of what is happening. It is their constituents who are in various hospitals. And therefore, as we speak now, we already have around 111 members of Parliament who've texted me and assured me that they are going to sign the impeachment motion and they are going to support it on the floor of the House. And this will be the greatest impeachment ever. Why? Because of the arrogance, the ignorance.
I think you've heard that. Let me get the comments from Geoffrey Ruto before I go to there's some I can also see there from Goodyear. This is what Geoffrey Ruto is saying. Geoffrey Ruto is saying that March 2017, Kenyan doctors held a 100-day strike, the longest ever in the country's history, but still nothing was done. What do we expect new this time? I don't know why, Geoffrey, you've decided to say that nothing was done. What do you expect? Do you try to mean that things are constant? Which yes, I maybe if I go ahead to try to expound on what you're saying, if I'm wrong, you'll maybe correct it. Yeah, in 2017, I remember March 2017. That time we had President Uhuru Kenyatta and the aggressive deputy William Ruto. Yeah, that was before even the 2017 elections. That was the longest strike, and nothing was happened. I think the only thing that came to change when they were having this agreement is that the minister or the person who was in charge by then was somebody who was responsible enough and would be able to call people on table and make an agreement. And that 100-day strike is the one that led to the CBA that people are now talking of right now, the collective bargaining agreement that is in discussion right now. So another thing that I also agree with you, Geoffrey Ruto, it's the same people who are in the government in 2017 who are now in government in 2024 as we are witnessing these kind of demonstrations. So what Kenyans should know is that, okay, these same people, they have the same approach. So Geoffrey is telling you that you should not expect anything new. Agudia is saying nothing should be a calling, human life before the money. You can claw the money owed later, but you can't claw the public back when dead. So I think Goodyear, you are making some point here, and majorly that is what people have always been saying, that this is a calling. And when you go there, actually, I'm sure, despite the fact that the nurses are demonstrating, there are some, or there are few who, before they go for strike, they attend to some patients, maybe at private levels or something like that. And most of them, I do understand, they go work in the private institutions to ensure that life is saved. So, for example, if you go to Mama Lucy Hospital and there's a strike there, they'll refer you to a private hospital where your life will be saved. So that one makes sense, but I don't know how how it works in most of the countries. These kind of people, the nurses, the people are normally are respected, and the agreements they make is valued, so that the department doesn't go down as what we've realized right now, because what is happening is really sad. I don't know if I have a clip where, okay, I'll just play you a short clip where the CS is trying to respond to the people whom she refers to critics. These are the people who are really reminding her that she needs to do something so that the nursing department can be restored.
Nataka kusema I am impressed. Alipagumu sana, lakini imani ikasimama. Mahali pagumu kwa sababu Daisy ni kazini yangu. Na huyu Jackie ni rafiki yangu. Na huyu Nabwera akinisalimia huwa ananifinya mkono. Sasa leo nimejua. Lakini umusacha. Abasacha batacho ni bamera bario. Nesie ni umwiwa ko namanye. Na hii lugari nolola sabula ino yesi yana bakasa kane babina mbenga. Kwa hivyo lugari inajua kuchagua wanaume sawa sawa. Mimi ni waziri wenu wa afya. Na mimi kukuwa waziri wa afya iligharimu mkono ya Mungu. Na hiyo mkono ya Mungu ilipitia kwa Papa Speaker Moses Masika Wetangula. Wale wanasema speaker hajafanya kitu, mimi kama exhibit niko hapa. Kama kuna maswali muanze kuniuliza mimi. Na kuna wengi ambao najua ambao huyu speaker ameshika mkono. Na katika yeye kunishika mkono, nyinyi mnajua vile hii serikali iliingia ikasema mambo ya afya itaweka mbele. Muda mchache sana. Na Mheshimiwa Wandae, please when you come tell these people. Hakuna sheria zimewahi pitishwa vile nilipitisha sheria za afya. That is a record and it speaks for itself. Hawa watu tunaita community health promoters. Hawako tu hapa Lugari, wako Kenya mzima. Hata kule kwenyu Mheshimiwa Wandae unajua wanaitwa Nyamurerwa. Na wanafanya kazi kwa sababu ya hao wananchi. Kupitia hii serikali vile tuliingia, madawa kule Kemsa ilikuwa 40%. Saa hiyo madawa iko 60%. Kupitia hii serikali wale watu walikuwa wanaiba pesa kwa NHIF, milango zote Nakhumicha amefunga. Ile imebaki sasa nyinyi ni kuanza kupata afya. Na hata nilikuwa nimeshajipanga. Hii serikali ilikuwa imesema kuanzia mwezi huu wa 3 kila mtu ambaye NHIF yake ilikuwa shilingi 500 anaanza kulipa 300. Sasa yani abamdenyazi nesini. Ofundu nafunina murifunini. Hona hakalusiasi handi samwenya abamdenya amriye. Mimi nataka kuwaomba kwa unyenyekevu. Wanasema heshima sio utumwa. Na kuna mheshimiwa amesema hapa na amesema mambo ya ukweli. Ile mambo mzuri yote, ile barabara hii mnasema, na ule amesema ukweli ya kwamba inapita Bapton kwetu huko. Na by the way, baba yangu anatoka hapa Chekalini. Kuka yangu anaita Andrea, alikuwa mtu wa jeshi la wokovu. Simiyu, si mnamjua? Mama yangu anatoka hapa Mayoyo kwa mzee anaitwa Wepuko. Kwa hivyo I have all the rights to speak and be here. Hiyo barabara mnasema inafika Bapton. Mbunge na wabunge wetu wasipofanya kazi na serikali haitapatikana. That is the truth, it is the fact, nothing can change it. Vile nimeketi hapa, Mheshimiwa Nabii amekuja akanieleza, my sister, niko na KMTC hapa, iko kwa rented. Na nikamwambia wewe weka pesa ya CDF kidogo na
Yeah, I think you've heard that. And maybe I'll get back to that later, and we'll see. Could it be that we do a lot of politics? That is why we cannot be able to solve some of these things. The good idea is saying that most Kenyan doctors and nurses left for a European country, and guess what? They were protesting there too. That's a real catch 22. Better the devil, you know. Yeah, it's true. Good year. Most Kenyan nurses currently they are looking for job overseas, and I think we are one of the countries in Africa that exports our nurses and doctors overseas. If you go to these countries, you'll find that go to countries like Australia, go to Canada, uh, the nurses there, most of them are Kenyans. So Kenyan nurses and doctors, after spending money from the government, that is help and all that thing, they go and do what? They go and work overseas. So it's something that is true. You're telling me that they also went to demonstrate there. Laban Misiani amesema ile kitu ni kitu gani? Tawe movement can solve this. Laban, how can Tawe movement solve this problem of healthcare? You've just had Nakhumicha is talking about health. She's telling you what she's done, and I'll tell you what people Oparanya told her. No, Oparanya is a governor who've been a minister, I think, of planning, minister of finance, been a governor. They've dealt with these doctors. There's some important sentiments that he made. Laman, the Nancy Baraza style of speech, you should know people. Yeah, actually, and that is why doctors have refused to talk to the government. There was a resolution on Tuesday, and the government was requesting them to get to work as they honor some of the demands this week, but the doctors said no. I think it's because of the Nancy Baraza style of speech, the arrogance that the cabinet secretary is trying to portray. It's laughable what she's talking about. So Goodyear, those are some of the things that maybe makes the doctor feel that the cabinet secretary is responsible for this and is not serious in coming up with a solution. Listen to what Oparanya told her.
CS Health, na kushukuru sana, kazi yako umejaribu, lakini mambo ya udaktari si mambo ya kuongea kwa matanga. And I'm surprised you have sat here the whole time. I would be thinking you would be somewhere working on doctors. You are talking, waje nimwambie, I have been a governor and I have dealt with the doctors. You are dealing with the chaps who had A minus. These are clever people than even yourself. I don't know what you got. These are people who has an opportunity not to go to a government hospital, but in the evening they go to a private hospital and they make their own money. So they can sustain that strike for as long as they want. Kama nurses wakimisi mshahara mbili, sasa wanatendea, wana pesa ya kutumia kwa nyumba. Lakini daktari, they will go on. They can go on for a year. So sit down, let the president get involved, because our people are...
Right. That is Faranya there. I think you've heard him. He's telling Nakhumicha that, he dealt with the doctors. Doctors can sustain a strike. I like Geoffrey Ruto reminded us that in 2017 March, they had one of the longest strike ever since experience in this country. That is 100 days of strike. But none of them was complaining. None of them alihamishwa kwa nyumba. None of them failed to take care of their families. And Oparanya just told you the secret is, for nurses, if they miss it, they'll start feeling it in their pockets. You can threaten them and tell them that, we are going to deduct your salary, the way they threaten people. If you want salary, and somebody will think of, okay, I better get the little that I'm getting than get nothing. But for the doctors, you can't threaten them that you're going to sack them. Because how many of you go to these public hospitals and maybe sometimes you miss a doctor and they refer you to a private hospital and you find the same doctor you've been finding in these public hospitals. I once experienced one in the one in Russia, the one Jaramogi Oginga Odinga in Kisumu. So it's one doctor who is giving services at Jaramogi, and the same doctor is giving services opposite. There's some big hospital opposite there. So one doctor will be giving services at maybe Omalusi, and the same doctor is giving services at Aga Khan. So that is why they normally tell you that appointment is on Tuesday and such kind of thing. So this is somebody you cannot threaten with the sacking. If you sack them, that is a good thing. It's better for them. They can now go hustle or get some work over there. If you don't pay them even for 3 months, they'll still get money outside there. Unlike teachers, if you don't pay them for a month, watakuwa meisha, and you threaten them, I'll not pay you, they'll end the strike. So doctors are, are that cunning. So what I'm asking, and what we need to ask as Kenyans, how do we solve this health issue? Is it not the right time that we put responsible people, we put experts, we put people who are experienced in these kind of dockets, rather than just putting political loyalists or people who supported you politically, but they don't have any idea in these kind of dockets? Because what is happening currently is a situation whereby somebody has been made a CS health, but this is somebody who for sure knows a little. I don't want to say knows nothing, because I know at least she knows something. This is somebody who knows little as far as the department is concerned. Somebody is asking a question. If we had Nakhumicha, if we had somebody asking this question, if we had Susan Nakhumicha as the CS health during corona, si Wakenya wangekufa wote? Imagine having Nakhumicha as the CS during corona. You people know we had one Mutai Kagwe, and he became a household name. He was there when needed. He gave timely updates. He gave directions. Despite the cancer scandal that hit the Department of Health, I think, which was not associated with the CS, the CS performed above expectations. Yes, we were informed of how corona, the effects, we were given directions, instructions were given, and everything was so clear. So if you had Nakhumicha at that time, what do you think would have happened? Okay, there is this thing. That is why people are saying that, okay, we need to get somebody who understands that. So this one was a CS nominee, Minister of Health, Susan Nakhumicha Wafula. The first thing that she did was diploma in pharmacy. That is at Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC. Yeah, so she did diploma in pharmacy. Though the year is not indicated, between 2005 to 2006, she did what is called diploma in health management at Kenya Institute of Management, KIM. She did health management, a course of 1 year. Okay, 2012 to 2014, 2 years. She did Master of Science in Procurement and Logistics. She is pursuing PhD Business Management, Operation Management, Logistics. That is what she was doing by the time she applied. The same 2006, when she was in Kenya Institute of Management, she started doing pharmacy in charge, AR Kisumu branch. Sorry, she was the pharmacy in charge. That is immediately she completed her diploma in healthcare management, akapata kazi the same year pale AAR Kisumu branch. She was the pharmacy in charge. In 2007 to 2013, she was a purchasing manager, mission for essential drugs and supplies. In 2013, she was a procurement intern. She was an intern, actually, a procurement intern. That in 2013, Kenya Medical Supplies Agency at KEMSA. Mm, mm. So that is the CV of the CS that we're having for health. And that is why you see people are making a lot of complaints, and people are really feeling that the CS is not doing enough to end the strikes. I don't know you are feeling from that end. And thank you so much for joining this. And even as we continue with this kind of discussion, of course, it was important that we look at the state of health in this country, because we cannot have a country if the country gets sicker and sicker the way it is sick right now. With time, we will not have a country. So one of the most important, one of the critical department in a society is health department. When everybody is healthy, everything will move on smoothly. But when people are not healthy, you'll find that there are things that will not things will not work out. Susan Mafula sounds good here. Susan Mafula sounds a very clever and a smart lady. Why can she put the knowledge in practice? That's a question that almost everybody is asking. Yeah, when you listen to her, she's somebody who sounds clever. She looks clever, actually. But the problem is now putting it into practice. So karibuni to the show. Welcome. And this, even as you join, I request you to subscribe to Afrique 24-hour TV. Ensure that you subscribe. We have so many programs, like tomorrow on Friday at 8 p.m. East African time, we are going to have Bed of Roses. So subscribe and ensure you don't miss that. So let me take a short water break, then we will be back.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance, presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru. Bed of Roses promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Afrique 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and mark your calendars. You don't want to miss this. See you there.
As it stands now, not only the politicians or professionals, even the religious leaders are now calling for the resignation. I just want to play for you this so that maybe...
Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha for failing to avert the ongoing human resource crisis in the health sector. We also see here that there is announced a bid by a member of the National Assembly, that is the Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino, who has filed a notice of motion in the National Assembly seeking to impeach Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha. And Honorable Vance, I'll start with you on this. Yes. Should she be impeached or should she resign over this health crisis?
Both. She should face both. Okay. The current government has been claiming that it wants to copy Mwai Kibaki government. And you remember in Mwai Kibaki government, you had people like Professor Ogeri, who is a PhD holder in medicine, and who was also a professor of medicine in the university, and also who had practiced medicine for some time. And then that person became a minister for health. There is one time the opposition loaned the Minister for Interior, you know, so that because he was most qualified to Honorable Gaiseri, the late Gaiseri, God rest his soul in eternal peace. Although he was in opposition, you know, Kenyans found him able to handle interior because the Minister of Health and Minister of Interior and Transport are very critical ministries in a nation. And therefore, from what Nakhumicha has been, how she's been dealing with the health sector, first of all, shows what I want to agree with the Babu Owino, incompetence. We even want to know what is our school trail. You know, we've had very many fake degrees in this country, and people who pretend, you know, pretenders to the throne, people who pretend that they can be able to handle a certain job, yet they are totally unable to handle. I want to agree with the cartoon in the Standard today. Nakhumicha has really been knocked down by the doctors. The Ministry of Health is so important in the country. So many people are dying right now. I've heard reports from Makueni, you know, district Makueni level 5 hospital. There are a lot of cries all over, you know, the country. Kenyatta National Hospital. And you imagine health means everything. You know, first the government needs to protect life. And upon protection of life, then the other things follow. If you are totally unable to protect life out of a very easy matter, then you're going to have a problem. You need doctors, just like you need pilots, and many other professions. Now, if Nakhumicha herself falls sick, what will happen to her? She needs doctors.
But is it fair to put this squarely at the doorstep of the CS, considering, one, these are historical issues. They are emerging from the 2017 CBA. Also, at the same time, there's an offer that has been put forward by the Public Service Commission from the doctors. They've rejected it. Is it fair to call for resignation, whereas there seems to be attempts to resolve this, and it's not squarely?
Well, whatever is being offered, you know, the doctors are very reasonable. They said out of 10 demands, if 6 are met, it makes a lot of sense. If you just, what the government has proposed is really ridiculous. If they could up their game or could get serious with the matter, it would be better. If the doctors agree to be subdued now, then all that CBA and all those things have been doing over the years are nonsense. So it's a high time we protected doctors in this country. They are the most brainy people. There are people who sacrifice. One of the things they are fighting over is the risk. You know, you remember what happened during COVID and doctors. Most doctors and even student trainees passed on. Their families who are trained doctors, who are being relied on their family are no more. And every other time there are strange diseases and they have to handle risky situations while saving people's life. Okay. Why not give them this particular chance and there's a budget? Okay. So I think she should be, she should stop being difficult unnecessarily, get serious about it or resign.
Okay.
Yes, you've heard that most people are now calling for the CS to resign. They don't want to hear anything, but they just want the CS to resign before he is impeached. But I think the impeachment motion will be discussed, and the president is now going to be put into test. If the president will be wise enough, he should do the necessary, ask the lady to resign or give her some lighter duties. I remember sometimes back when we were having the previous government, there are some cabinet secretaries who would be relieved from their normal duties in the name of giving them what is called the lighter duties. One of them was Anne Waiguru. That is after the NYS scandal. They had to relieve her from her duties and give her some lighter duties. So she should also receive the same because the public outcry is really loud. Goodia, I agree with you. You're saying that health is wealth. Fake degree is equivalent to no degrees at all when caught. What's this? Most ministers don't care about the public's health because they fly abroad for treatments. I think that's something that we also need to look at. Why do you think that these ministers, the cabinet secretaries, the MPs, and the people who live some high-end lives, they don't care about public health? They don't care about public health because, number one, when they're sick, they don't go to these public hospitals. There's no single day you'll find them in this public hospital. They'll have to fly abroad for medication. If they're not flying abroad, then they will always have to go to private hospitals, which are expensive. Yeah, they will always go to private hospitals which are expensive and have good facilities, and the doctors there in private hospital, they don't strike with them. They're always there. They're there full time, and you will always find them. So do you think the right thing that should be done, we should also look at our health, whatever, how do we call it, our health policies, and we try to ban people flying away from the country to go and seek medication? Can that one really solve the problem that we're having? Whereby we make it a rule that no government official should use public money to get treatment outside the country. Because we know what happens is that whenever these MPs or these ministers fly out for treatment, their hospital bills are still paid by the taxpayers' money. You see, they are still paid by taxpayers' money. So, should the government come up with a way to ensure that no public money, no taxpayers' money is used to pay for the health bill for the MPs who feel that, okay, with us, when we are sick, we can just go get some payment. We can just go get some treatment outside this place. I just want to give you one of the response when the CS was asked about employment of interns. There is a response that she gave. I think this one will also tell you why the doctors feel that, okay, the CS is so arrogant. Listen to
So we
that.
begin tomorrow. Our plan is that by 1st of April, each intern should be in their station.
But you're doing this under the new advice.
Yes.
And they're saying without implementing completely the CBA, they're not going back to work. What's going to happen, Waziri?
Ken,
Yeah.
this is an internship that we are offering.
Yes.
In fact, I have interns who have called me and told me, Waziri, all we need is a license to practice. I have about 50 who have told me they are willing even to work they're willing to go for internship without any stipend, without any payment, so that they get their license to practice. And that should be the end game, that they need to practice as a doctor, they need to practice as a pharmacist, as a dentist, but they cannot practice without a license. So what the ministry is doing is to facilitate for them to get this experience and get a license to go and practice. Ken, we are going to have them after they get their license. And they'll be back at me asking for employment. Right now in this country, we have close to 3,000 doctors that are unemployed. Shouldn't we be talking about them?
And the NIPA is, there's a deficit of 38,000 doctors in this country.
Yes, we have a huge deficit. I have just told you that we have a huge gap. So we should be discussing how do we
that I can see True TV. Oh, this is Mzalendo. Mzalendo, good evening.
Good evening, Leo.
Yeah.
How
How are you? I'm okay. I'm good. We are just after the Easter, and the Easter was really busy. We also had a World Safari Rally on the Easter Eve or the weekend. We also had some downpour of rainfall on the same Easter, meaning the ones who are in the rurals or the ones who are doing some farming, at least most of them were engaged in their farms planting. And the same time as they were planting, we also had some places where people are complaining that the fertilizers they were having were not okay, yet it was a planting season. Among the several accidents that happened over the weekend, some even involving the students, one even involving some youthful players. So that is what has happened over the week. The doctor strike has entered day 3. So we picked that, you know, when you look at a society, one of the most critical department is the health department, and before we go to security and transport, because if you have a faulty health department, and maybe at any chance there's insecurity and people get some gun wounds or get some spear wounds, then their chances of losing life is high because nobody is going to take care of them. But if the health department is okay, even in case of accidents and all those things that are happening, we are rest assured that there are some lives that are going to be saved. So, welcome. You can just give your opening remarks before we look into these menace that we are having in the country. We are having several departments of health workers who are currently on strike, not the doctors, the clinical officers, yeah, and so on and so forth. So it's really hard. Unlike in some, maybe some years back, we'll only have, maybe if it is doctors, it is doctors alone. If it is nurses, it is nurses alone. But currently, almost most of the departments have been paralyzed, and the citizens, you just know the kind of the economy that we have currently and how people are really feeling. So now, apart from having pain of not getting medicine in the health facilities, they also have another problem of not getting somebody to prescribe for them that medicine that they can go and maybe buy outside there. So karibu sana, as we also welcome our viewers. I can see Brother Benson Media has also joined us. Goodia was here, is here. Laban Misani and Geoffrey Ruto, and the rest, the many who are watching us. And just a reminder, as I keep on reminding you, if you've not subscribed to Afrique, ensure that you do so, despite where you are viewing this program from. So Mzalendo, karibu sana.
Thank you very much. And Leo, I didn't see you over the Easter. I hope you enjoyed with your family. And to those who experienced tragedy over Easter, poleni sana. Na Mungu atawapatia rehema wakati huu wa msiba. I'm very sorry for the accidents, the unfortunate accidents. Unfortunately, in Kenya, these accidents normally occur during the festive season. Drivers need to be very careful. NTNC needs to do their job thoroughly. You know, in developed countries, like where I am, drivers who drive commercial vehicles or drivers who drive passengers, most of the time, they go under very vigorous test for alcohol in their body, and that was done by the body called that is supposed to be in charge of transportation, like NTSC. They need to do a thorough job. I think we have not really exhausted the avenues of helping or of making our roads safer in our country. We need to look at things at another level. Now, on the issue today, this issue it's something that has been in the country for a long time. And I think maybe it is high time the president does something on the health sector. I think the president and the deputy are sleeping on their job. Just recently, about a day ago, I saw a crisis meeting of Luya leaders going to the DP's office to release a suspect called Chesa. That was an unfortunate incident. So if they cannot meet when we have a crisis like this and solve the issue of the health sector, then it is sad. That was a very sad moment for the UDA government. But Leo, you should bear in mind that in Kenya today, 2 doctors represents about 10,000 patients. That is way below the World Health Organization standards. At least one doctor should represent 1,000 patients. That is the standard in the world. So let us keep on reminding the necessary organs, the government officials, what they need to do right. If you go back in the village, you barely find doctors in the counties. And remember, our viewers should also know that the health sector is a devolved function. So there's a confusion, a very, very big confusion in the health sector. One, you'd want to blame the government. At the same time, you'd want to blame the county government for not doing their job. Because if they have been given money to pay their workers, then these doctors or interns should be paid. And again, Leo, let me just emphasize that most governors have not got their acts right when it comes to devolution. When we have devolved functions like health, that should be priority number one. Because if you want to be a governor for a county that is unhealthy, then it does not serve the purpose. Priority number one should be that your constituents are having good health. They're having good hospitals. Most hospitals, especially the districts hospitals in most of these counties, do not have doctors, do not have really doctors, but they have nurses. They have nurses that are doing the doctor's job. I am lucky to be a board member in one of the NGOs that look at maternal health care. And the issues that we're dealing with are very, very interesting. You find that the people who are doing the cesarean operations are not actual doctors. They're not the doctors who are supposed to do that kind of operation. So they have left it for the nurses. And so many patients are losing their unborn children, or some of them give birth and later on, after a few hours, the baby is dead. So this is something that is a crisis in the country. I believe that we should address it immediately, and Ruto should act as soon as possible. This is painting the government of UDA very, very, very badly. We should not run up and down looking for Raila a job, yet we have a crisis in the country. So that should be a priority number one for the UDA government. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you so much for that opening remarks. And of course, as they say, health is wealth. So we cannot claim to be building a healthy nation when we've not given health a priority. So I'm also joined by Captain and Hillary. So I'll start from my right so that they can also be able to give their opening remarks and give their comment or their feeling in the health situation that we're having currently in Kenya. So, Captain, good evening. I know it is not evening, it's morning where you are, and a long time I am happy to see you after kukula school fees na ukatorokea huko. Saa hii ungekuwa daktari, watu hawangekuwa wanagoma. Karibu sana.
Aje.
Unasikika?
Hiyo mzuri sana bwana. Unajua mimi sina maneno mingi sana juu I just to listen what the panelists are saying. But I can tell this guy, I forget the name, that we are not running to look for a job for Raila. We are trying to reduce the job, those people who are seeking for jobs. If they were 1,000, now after Raila getting a job, it will be 99,999. So you see, the government is trying everything to make sure our people are getting jobs. You see, so otherwise we have no problem. Nakhumicha, wacha afanye kazi, wache kukimbiza, kwa sababu labda saa zingine mnasema sijui ako related na nani na nani na nani. Wache kuingiza siasa kwa kazi. Otherwise, let me just remain listening. If anything that I see it is not going right the way this guy is telling us that we stop looking for a job for Raila. If we stop looking for that job, how do you think the streets will be? We need very clear streets, and we need to save those money that we can use for buying the tear gases and whatever, to look for a way on how we can fix the issue of fertilizer. Otherwise, let's continue.
Thank you, Captain. Just keep it there. Sitoke, I know some responses are coming on your way, and you'll be able to respond to them accordingly. And of course, you
But
said that
let me
the,
just a
the
minute.
yes, yes.
Maybe if I'll run away, it is not my fault because I'm just waiting for something to happen. Then I'll disappear. As you can see, I want to get in.
Captain, before you
Yes.
go away, a long
Yeah.
time. My name is
Are you traveling back to Kenya, or where are you going to?
I'm going out now. I'm going out. You cannot talk such shit in Kenya, bro. They will arrest you.
I get you. No, but people talk
Mhm.
well in Kenya. Mzalendo was asking you a question. No, that is Mzalendo. You know very well. Stop us. So these few days, you now don't know people. Huh? I get it.
No. You know mzalendo amenona sijui mpaka ni kama amepigwa na nyuki huku kwa mashafu. Kumbe ni kunona.
ni ile kama
Eh?
hujatusi hautasikia raha, lakini wacha nikupatie nafasi unitusi kidogo ndio usikie raha. Usikie
Sasa mzalendo iko tofauti ya matusi na mchongoano. Hapo
mimi na
sasa ndio unaangukaga Kiswahili.
angalia huyu Kip, wewe ndio unanikimbiza. Mimi nimenaona, lakini wewe unanikimbiza. Tafadhali wacha nikuambia, wacha mawaida kidogo tu, mandugu usaidiana. Kufika mahali nimefika ni rahisi, kutoka ni ngumu. Kaa ukijua hivyo.
Naelewa sana.
Thank you
So
so much.
otherwise guys, hakuna maneno, tuko pamoja. I am very happy that I see the show is still running. I've been trying nikiwa ushago, lakini sinajua leo mambo ya ushago, mara stima hakuna bundles,
Na
tabu ingine.
wifi hotspot CSO walo hajafika huko ushago, ama alianza na wale wengine
Ni kama alianzia kule, ameanzia kule kwenu kwanza, anakuja juu sasa. Unaona, najua hiyo booster iko pale Nandi pale juu, so inamulika chini Kisumu, so nafikiri kwenu nyinyi mko sawa.
Okay, I'll ask you some questions later. Let me welcome Bwana Hillary also to give his opening remarks. Of course, I'm going to ask you how you've seen things, when you're on the ground and when you're outside ground. Normally, when you people come home, you normally come and tell us that you've changed your mind when you're away there. You used to think that Kenya is bad. Now, when you come back, you find Kenya is good and such kind of things. So, Hillary, karibu sana. I know you enjoyed your Easter, and you are also waiting for Ramadan Karim, that is next week. So karibu sana.
Asante sana leo. I think Ramadhani zakuwa mzuri zaidi. Hii Easter ni shida, hatuna kina mzalendo. Mzalendo nimefurahi sana kuona. Muko salama lakini?
Salama.
Naona mnaongea juu afya hapa.
Afya, ubora wa afya. Wewe kama mtaalamu wa afya, hebu tuelezee ni nini Kenya inaweza fanya mzuri.
Kenya nafaa izikwe tukuwe na country jina ingine. Tukuwe na jina ingine ya nchi fulani. Unajua Kenya has been a good country that we have best doctors, among the best doctors in the world. Bang nurses, best nurses. You realize that some are even nurses. Our nurses going outside here, they're doing well. So I don't know, man. I think the government is I don't know. I don't want to use bad word, but this government, those who have voted for him, like Mzalendo, we need to take them in the cage. They be there for 100 years, then we fixed Kenya, then we come back, because people are dying, man. The CS of L doesn't know what is happening. I don't know where he went to school to. I don't know. I'm just wondering, man. She need to go home as the day she was appointed. But I want to say this. It's so unfortunate that in our country, you realize one doctor is standing for 17,000 patients. That is so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. I think according to the World Report, I think one doctor should be assessing 1,000 patients. But just imagine 17,000. I was talking to one of the doctors, said 17,000. We are going nowhere with the health issues, and the government is less concerned. You see, people are dying now in this. There's several people. If you see, if you can see how women and men are complaining, most of the women, many women are dying at the moment in Zalendo. Those who want to give birth, there's so many. They are really suffering, man. Children are dying. There's no any solution at the moment. This is so unfortunate. As much as there's politics, there's so many things. People are concentrating with the posts. People are concentrating of things that cannot help them, but our people are dying because of health issues. And yet we have best doctors. We have several interns, so many interns that should be given a job. Why not? We have the best nurses in Kenya. We have named them. But why these people? Why? So it shows us something that those leaders who are there, no matter who is he or who is she, to me, all of them should just be swept away and go and live somewhere, man. Because I just think that leaders should be much concerned with the life of their people. And yet when the elections comes in, they want the same people to vote for them. It is so painful, man. When you see how people are suffering, women and men are crying because there's nobody to attend to them. And yet even some have even paid the bills. Some even pay their medical, but they cannot. Some are being paying the NHIF. Money is being deducted all the time. It was added, and there's nothing is happening. So it's so unfortunate that the government today cannot even address this issue, but now they are campaigning of affordable housing, Raila to be AU. That, how can that one help? Being in AU chairmanship, how can that help people down here? Ruto going where he's going, how can that help people down here? You know, Murkomen is going down to for roads. How these roads? So will be traveling on those roads. If people are dying, everybody's dying in those roads. You know, this is a fake government, man. This is a very fake government, and if it continues this way, I think we need to call out and we go to the road again. And if possible, we call election. Okay, that's my take. Leo, I don't want to talk much. This
All
health
right,
issue is
all right.
really
Thank you. Oh, there's this issue you just mentioned. We are having deficit of doctors. We are having deficit of nurses back in the country. Yet each and every year we are training doctors and nurses, and a lot of them are graduating. And if you look at statistics, Kenya is among the African countries that is leading in exporting doctors overseas and exporting nurses. Our nurses are crowded in Australia. Our nurses are in America. Our nurses are in Canada, among other European countries. Don't you think this one is also affecting us? You know, the cost of training one doctor actually, it's really a lot of money. And obviously, most of them use help. And once they've used this help, they don't give the services back to the country. They go and give the services outside the country. And even our MPs who fly out to go and get treatment in these foreign countries, it's obvious that they are going to find Kenyan doctors are the ones who are treating them there. So what do you think should be done? Is this one not a problem? Is this one not a brain drain to our health department?
But the question you need to ask yourself, why are they running to go to the best countries? Why are they going there? Because
maybe I'll throw the question back to you. Why are they running? Why don't they want to work in Kenya?
The services are good outside there. They are being taken care of. They are being their pay rate is good. The way they are being treated. When they say something, government is ready to listen to, because the government is much concerned about the health of the people. In our country, is that you go to the road, you get the tear gas. That's the blessings that you can get, and yet you go to school for 7 years, and again you go for intern for 2 years. So almost 9 years, you've been just studying without nothing. So I think that's why they are being paid well. Actually, let me tell you, for example, in Canada, the best paid people, Zalendo will tell you this, is the doctors and then lawyers. Those are the best people. That's the best paid. Why? Because these people, and teachers. Number 3 is teachers. Let me tell you, the teachers who are teaching these small children, and these are the worst people who are being paid in our country. The best people being paid in our country is politicians. What are they doing? Actually, those people are going to the parliament 3 days. Actually, 2.5 days. And they're the best people paid.
That is very, very interesting. And that's why everybody wants to be a politician. Everybody wants to get their hands into the gravy train. Politicians do actually nothing. Most of them are professionals, but they stopped their working as lawyers a long, long time ago when they realized that Parliament has got more money or representing the people. People like James Orengo, have you ever seen him in court representing anybody nowadays? He stopped that a long time. He's now a governor, fully fledged. Yeah, there's a lot of money. Yeah, you are right.
I hear you. So that's the problem, Leo. That's the problem. Better let them train our doctors, run away. Go and work well. Because politicians, they work 2 days in a week.
Yeah.
They work Tuesday and Wednesday. On Thursday, they go to the parliament half day. It doesn't even half a day, 2 hours. They are done until the following Tuesday. Just imagine for a month how those people are working how many hours or how many days. But how much are they getting? Millions. If it reached to their point, if it could have been them, now the salary could have been approved. Reaching to doctor, they don't care. Why do we vote for these people? Man, let me tell you, I want to tell you in this show today, me, I will never vote anybody. I will never, even if my dad be the president, I will never vote anybody. I can't even make a line to vote for it. That is nonsense, man. And then they're telling us that, oh, if you don't vote, you vote for your
Hillary, you know, when you don't participate in voting,
no,
that
is not the point, Leo. The point here is about the health. I want you to get the context. But why do you vote for these people if they cannot talk about health? Why are we voting? We are voting for them to make laws to be good for our people. If they cannot do that, why do we vote? Why do you tell me that I wake up in the morning, then I vote them? Then go and call your MP that you voted for. Does he take even your call today? He doesn't even know you.
They don't.
Wait during campaign. They come there, they give you 200 shillings. So I wake up, even at your work, you don't wake up at 5 in the morning as you go. And when the voting comes, you don't even sleep. Man, we are bewitched. Let it be like this place. There people vote. People doesn't know that even sometimes if you're not concerned, you cannot even know if people are voting. You cannot even know the politics is going on, you know. And life is continuing because everybody is concerned with what is getting. But Kenya, man, it is. I think it is so bad. Actually, this health issue has make me look things different way because this is so bad, man. I've seen people are crying. There's no services at all in public hospitals. So if you don't have money, you die. You die with Zika, you man. Die haraka tukuzike kabisa. Asante.
I get you. Thank you. Let me just pose this question to Captain. Captain, there's this issue. Wale watu umesema kama sasa umesema there are so many Kenyans who are unemployed and you've said to reduce the number of unemployed Kenyans kwa sababu the manifesto ya Jubilee ya UDA ilisema they are going to create employment. They are starting creating employment from the top. Wanaanza na kucreatea Raila Odinga employment. Most of these MPs and the government, top government officials, whenever they are sick and their families, they go for medication abroad. But when they go abroad, there's something that we people forget to understand, that they are using the taxpayers' money. As you are paying the NHIF, they also pay the NHIF. Your NHIF will take you the farthest, Mama Lucy. With them, the insurance, which obviously is not NHIF but is paid by the taxpayers, will take them to India, will take them to Germany to go and get some better treatment. Do you think that is right, or we should start by just having a policy that ensures that people get treated within the country so that we can improve our health system?
Who are those people who are going to put their policy, if not the same politicians? Do you think they can put? Hmm? Now you are changing an agile to something I don't know. I was thinking it was like fertilizer, shifu. What is shifu? Hmm? Because everything is failing. Mumeiba kwa upande wa NHIF, mumeona hapa tuko karibu kupatikana, ishapatikana hata kitambo. So mumekuja na jina ingine inaitwa shifu, tunapunguza ikuwe sijui mia tatu ama mia ngapi. Anyway, Nyabaya, I don't want to make noise to so many people. Let me just listen until
I'll
some
allow you
other
to
time.
listen. I'll allow you to
Yeah.
listen. I'll go to Mzalendo. Mzalendo, before you came, we played some video of the Health Cabinet Secretary Nakhumicha giving some address, and if you looked at her speech, it was more political than somebody who is a cabinet secretary or somebody who is a minister who should be taking a responsibility. You would think that she was in the campaign mood, campaigning for an election that is not there. Do you think that she should be blamed for what is happening currently, for not maybe giving leadership and taking responsibility to ensure that things are sorted out in amicable way? Because if you look at the claims from the doctors, they're saying that the cabinet secretary is so arrogant. The cabinet secretary is not showing solutions. Instead, she is chest thumping. When they talk of interns, instead of this cabinet secretary telling them that, okay, we can do this, the cabinet secretary is telling them that, you see, I even have 50 interns who are ready to work for free. Do you think we should blame the cabinet secretary for what is happening?
I think this is one sector that is in the wrong hands. Not that the cabinet secretary is saying anything wrong. In fact, sometimes he's saying things which are right. It's only that he's saying them at the wrong time when there's a crisis. That is the difference. There are some statements that she ought to not make. There are some statements that are right. When she's saying that those interns should be given licenses to practice, that is something that is right. But right now, what do they need? They need money. These doctors have been striking ever since, from Moi's time to Kibaki's time, to Uhuru Kenyatta's time, to Ruto's time. We've not got something right. What they want implemented right now is what they negotiated with the previous government. It is not what the government of William Ruto negotiated, although he was in that government. But I believe that it's not what they really agreed upon as a government. So they are having again fresh negotiations with the government. This is the problem with the Kenyan governments that come in. There are so many things that they just ought to move to the shelf and withdraw and implement. But they are going, there's a back and forth game. For instance, I can give you numerous examples. The issue of the NADCO report, they should have just gone to the Kriegler report and implemented what the Kriegler wanted after the post-election violence. They shouldn't have wasted a lot of taxpayers' money on something they know that they are not going to implement, or they're just dilly-dallying and will cost taxpayers a lot of money. On the issue of Nakhumicha, they should just go and see what the doctors agreed upon, come to the table with the government of Kenya and Treasury and the Treasury Department, the head of KRA, and see what they can collect and give the doctors, maybe in quarters or in bits, so that things can go to normalcy. Otherwise, these are very, very simple decisions, just dragging our feet when other people are suffering. People are, today, as we speak, somebody has died in an hospital in Kenya because there was no doctor to help them. Somebody has got an injury, a trauma, a serious injury like the accident that happened, you need doctors in the hospital to give them urgent care. They are not those doctors. Those people are going to die. Those people are going to die. This is not an issue to play around with. This is not an issue to joke with. We should call it the way it is. It is something that should not be politicized. And I'm glad Babu Owino probably has taken the cue. I hope he's not taking the cue for popularity, but he's taking the cue to help Kenyans who are suffering. So this is something that ought to have been done a long time ago. A long time ago. The cabinet should have held a crisis meeting by yesterday. I don't see what William Ruto is doing in Ghana. I don't see that. He should have done something about it by yesterday so that his government does the right thing at the right time before we lose so many Kenyans.
I get you. I get you. And Hillary, Mr. Lenda is saying, okay, this is something that ought to have been implemented. In fact, this agreement, this CBA was entered into 2017. That is when we had, I think, one of the longest doctors' strike that went for 100 days in March 2017. We had not even gone to the 2017 elections. By then, William Ruto was still a powerful and aggressive and the most consulted deputy president in the country. So Uhuru had not lost ground by then. So right now, what is happening? Things are happening, and the president is the appointing authority. He's the one who appointed all this cabinet, and that is why whenever things don't go right, people will always start by blaming the president. So why do you think the president is so silent on this issue? Should he not just ask the CS to resign or do a reshuffle or give us some lighter duties? Or he's waiting for a removal from the office motion to be tabled in parliament is when he acts? Is William Ruto so slow in acting, or there's something or some interest that he have that Kenyans don't know?
Of course, the president has interest. One, the interest to appoint the PSs. So every president who appoints the PS, he has interest of those people, and he has the agreement with them. So he's playing a game here. He doesn't want to show that he appointed weaker, maybe weaker leaders. But one thing you should know that it is people, the people who tell you the strength of the leaders. You should not wait what Babu Owino want to do. I think as a president, he could have taken action. So we see the serious president. He could have been like Magufuli in this scenario. Like, you don't work, go home. This job is not there for them. And I think Zalinda said it well. When last we saw the strike of doctors in Kenya was 2017, right? That was the major one. I think that one, we have critical report that Mzalendo was talking about. I think coming with all this report doesn't help us. Every 5 years, we're coming report, and then there's no implementation. So it doesn't make sense. And actually, that's why I'm saying that wasting our time to go and voting, coming the report, which is not being implemented. In 10 years to come, we'll be talking about NADCO report. In 20 years, we'll be talking about BBI report. In 30 years, we'll be talking about critical report. In 40 years, so until when? Let people not vote. Let these people be voted by their women or husbands. In this thing, we see if they can be the MPs. Why do we vote them? If they cannot implement what they are saying, there's a report. They will come with so many reports. So when these people come, every team will have to come with the report. Until when? There's no system. So that's the problem. And that's why we are seeing even this presidential thing is just useless. People just working for their ego, their interest and everything, to see their families to remain in power and everything. This one, I was willing to blame President Ruto 100% that he could have not waited any longer. One, he could have called this lady to go home. Number two, he could have called doctors as a president. He took action and talked to them and see the way forward, because it is not a matter of president. He could have respected the presidency, because he will never be president forever. Some people will come after 10 years, other president will come, but the presidency should have called the doctors and talked to them and address this issue as part. He has leaders who are key. He has the deputy president. He have the Mudavadi is there. If these people, if the minister cannot do that, Mudavadi is in charge of the ministers. Why can't he call Mudavadi to take action on all these things and make sure that things are running? It is a bad presidency that Ruto is setting, and we are seeing we will make a noise. We are seeing is very. This shows us a lot of things. If you have a minister who's not working, call them off, tell them to get arrested or reshuffle them. Let us have people who can work there, who have qualified, who have interest to help our people. So I think he's playing a bad game, and this bad game to me will make many people, and mark my word, it will make many people will not vote the next time, or many people will vote against him, because we are not seeing him taking any action. People are complaining. Why must he wait, Babu Owino, to go to the court? That court, who is paying this cost? It is our taxes. You know, they will call the committee or the what. Why do we file all this report? This is wasting of time, and people are dying. So this thing doesn't. It should not wait the MP or anybody to go to the court or to go to the parliament to impeach the CS. I think it's so uncalled, and the president should act as soon as he can. Otherwise, to me, I see he's not doing anything to help the people.
Captain, I'm seeing you touching the screen. Do you want to get in or?
Kama ako kwa train.
Jamaa yuko train, jamaa anataka kusafiri. Let me get to Mzalendo. Mzalendo, you heard what has been happening. Actually, the kind of politics that is being played in the matter of health, and the kind of arrogance claims that they claim, okay, Nakhumicha is showing some kind of arrogance in that ministry. So look at the doctors. Don't you think the doctors are now asking for too much? Because on Tuesday there was a certain return to work formula that they dismissed. They distanced themselves from, and they said they are not accepting it in totality, that they want things implemented the way it is, nothing less, nothing more.
You see, what are the governors doing? Perhaps now we should ask ourselves the most important question, and the elephant in the room is, what are the governors doing about the crisis in the counties? What are they really doing? By now, the Council of Governors should have held also a crisis meeting to see if the doctors are going to be in the county hospital, but they have not. They've kept quiet. They are enjoying part of this game. And do you know, Lee, why they are enjoying this circus? They're enjoying this circus because they know a lot of money will come from the county, from the national government, back to the counties to pay these workers. So they are also enjoying the circus. They are also enjoying this circus. As much as they are pretending that they need people back in the hospitals, they are enjoying the circus. What they ought to do, because I think the government maybe does not have the money to pay the doctors. Some of the devolved functions are not necessary. Some of the devolved functions are not necessary at all. That money should be channeled to the doctors. Some of these things should be completely shelved in the county government, and we give priority to the health sector. We don't need ministries like Ministry of Trade, in the county government, Ministry of Sports and Gender, in the county government, Ministry of Agriculture. These are just bogus waste of taxpayers' money. Yet at national level, you expect that the Minister for Agriculture is supposed to be answerable to all the functions of agriculture in the country. When there is a drought, or when there is a fertilizer crisis, then the national government is being blamed. Some of these functions should be fully devolved, such that we know that the buck stops with the county government. If the county governments are not able to pay the health workers, then that way we know that this particular county is not paying its workers. So, and to the national government, they need to release the money in good time to the county government. Whatever that the doctors are demanding is what is in arrears, what they ought to have been paid by the previous government. Probably the new governor in your county was not aware, or they didn't budget for it. Then they need to create a supplementary budget so that the workers can go to the to hospitals. But look at the funds that they have that are just lying idle. You'll find in most counties, Leo and the viewers outside there, you'll find that in most counties they have over 500 million lying for disaster management. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. They need to tap on that money so that they can help and save the health sector. So this disaster fund is what most county governors loot, plus the executive. They loot this money, because if the county does not have any disaster in 5 years, yet their funds are already depleted. They need to tap into this money, pay the workers whatever they are being paid. For example, paying an intern 15K, that is something that the county government ought to have done. Yeah, and hizo mshahara zao, let the counties handle it.
What they are saying is that the county government is paying, but the county government is not needs to pay what is in the collective bargaining agreement, which I think is the role of the national government. So they tell the county government that, okay, we are paying this amount, so this amount that you'll be given. Or are you trying to say that we should have a situation whereby each county is having a different agreement with the doctors, so that maybe the agreement in Kisumu is different from the agreement in Muranga and agreement in Mombasa?
You see, Kenya does not understand devolution. And I keep on saying this all the time. What you are seeing about devolution is just 20% of how devolved government should work. They just borrowed a chapter from the American Constitution and placed it in our books, as that we have this. This is a system that we need. But when you go into the nitty-gritties of devolved government, even the school system should be devolved. That is the work of the county. The county of where I come from, Homa Bay, should be in charge of all the schools. All the schools. What should only come from the national government is policy, what they ought to implement. The police, the salaries that pay the police services in whatever county that is in charge of, a governor is like a president. Is a president of a small county. County government need to run like the national government. The only difference is that they borrow policy from the government. Even the laws. Look at how Kenyan governors, they don't even have their own laws. They don't even have their own laws. They should have their own laws that they are prioritized. They still use the national government laws. That is why we have the assembly. What is the work of the county assembly in all these counties? Is it to pass the budget and to build roads? That is the absolute nonsense that we see in our country. They don't really understand devolution. They don't understand it. And if you tell them to elect people who understand devolution, they don't even want that. Most of these functions should be devolved in totality so that the government cannot be blamed in some certain issues. Yeah, so I really emphasize that we need to look at devolution in totality, and don't let us not give our people piecemeal services. Thank you.
Think I got you well, and to our viewers, we are just trying to weigh in. This health crisis that we're having currently. You've been able to see the stalemate that has been there between the national government, that is the State Department of Health, and the doctors and the medical practitioners union, and the strike is entering week 3 with the various health departments getting involved, and this one is threatening the health situation in the country. The entire country is so paralyzed because people cannot be able to get the basic services that they should be getting at their health facilities. It's something so serious that as a nation we cannot just sit back, relax, and see things getting down like this, because if we are having poor health structures or poor health system, then it's obvious that the country is failing. It's obvious that the country is failing because one of the most critical part of the country is health. And you will always be reminded that at independence, the founders of this country said that they were going to fight disease, ignorance, and those are some of the things that we're having up to date. Because if people can still not be able to control simple diseases, then it means we've not yet achieved the agenda that we had at independence. It was poverty, diseases, and ignorance. So if we are having poor health departments, we've not achieved that what made us to gain independence. So we've not yet achieved the things that we set, or some of the things that we set at independence. So we cannot be able to move on as a country if such simple things are not taken care of. Mercy is saying Mugomo Natumiza. Geoffrey Ruto, this government is working despite too much negativity outside there. The government is working despite. So Geoffrey, can you just explain which kind of negativity and which kind of work? I think by that we'll be able to know what is taking place. So Geoffrey said that the government is working despite too much negativity. And maybe somebody might also say that this too much negativity is what keeps the government on toes. And to ensure that we get better services as a country, the government should have critics. There should be people who will be seeing the negative sides so that the government can transform those negative sides into positive sides. So without that, everything will seem to be okay. And the time people will have to realize some evil or some wrong things, then it will be too late. So we also need to encourage those people who keeps on looking on negative things on the government to keep on doing that, because that is when the government is able to realize their negative side and work on it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And as we are having this kind of conversation, ensure that you subscribe to our channel, that is Afrique TV, so that whenever we are live, you will always be notified. So just look for Afrique 24 TV, subscribe, and you will always get notified whenever we are live. So a short break, then we continue.
But what political leader can stand up and say, my party is a party of principles? For the party of Kennedy is also the party of Eastland. The party of Jarvis is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protest? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police officials kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
Those are some powerful sentiments from John Lewis. And as Kenyans, we also need to say that it's time that we need our freedom, or we need services now. We don't need to wait. So the question that maybe Mzalendo, what do you think Kenyans can do? Or this thing is just because as it stands, most of these problems are left in the hands of politicians. People have always believed that politicians are the ones that are going to solve all the problems that we are having in the society. And that is why whenever there's anything, even if there's floods, and some people knew very well that it was going to rain, they didn't do anything to ensure that they are in places that are raised. They didn't do something at the personal level. They'll still have to talk of Wapi MP, Wapi what. Somebody is having a kid for these years, knowing very well this child have been going to school, the child will be going to maybe secondary and such kind of things. They wait for last minute and start calling at the politicians. Do you think the politicians are going to give solution to the problems that we're having in this country, or Kenyans should start thinking otherwise?
Leo, we always get the most incompetent political class, and I've repeated several times here that the only solution they have is a solution to how to fatten their pockets and their stomachs. That is the only solution that they always come up with. Somebody put it very, very clearly that when they want to solve the issue of their salaries, they always come very, very, very fast and sort it out. When CDF is delayed for a minute, when CDF is just delayed for a minute, you see the crisis. You see the crisis in Parliament. They even demonstrate that they need that CDF as soon as possible. Now their own constituents are dying. Are you seeing them even demonstrating? They are not even showing any concern at all. It is not their business. Our politicians are leeches. They are leeching us. I mean, we don't have the class of politicians like John Lewis. The video that we just played for a minute. John Lewis started that revolution when he was only 23 years old, and he became a senator and is recognized in the US. So sometimes the young people of our nation, Kenya, need to do the right thing. And the right thing is calling out the political class to act. Today, we don't have doctors in our hospitals. How many people have died today? And how many people can afford the private hospitals like Nairobi hospitals or any the Comarocs in Nairobi? How many people can afford that? Very, very, very few individuals. So the health sector needs to be functional. If we have an incompetent CS who does not understand that health is wealth, then he needs to pack and go. That is some important message that we need to pass, especially in the media, that these people need to go home. And if the president is listening to Africa 24, we are calling upon to hold a crisis cabinet meeting so that he solves the issues of health. Let him solve the issue of health the way he's trying to sort out the issue of Raila Odinga becoming the AU Commission chairman. Let him run around each and every county and solve the crisis of the doctors being on strike. Let him be given the data of how many patients have died or die each and every day because we don't have a medic in hospital trying to solve that particular problem. Let the president get that message, and let the political class also know that this is a vote that they always beg for, that is now dying, and yet they've kept mum. But when it comes to the issue of their salaries, they all gang up. They all present a bipartisan bill, to pass their salaries very, very fast. Now, the country, doctors have gone on strike. They've been doing this since 2017. It is high time we get our acts right as a country. Otherwise, thank you very much. Good to see you, Nick.
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome Nick. It's been long. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you.
Karibu.
Yeah. Asante.
Just to say hi and maybe some opening remarks. Najua Easter has been long. People have now done with Easter. A lot has happened. So back in our country, Kenya, the Easter wasn't that good because you remember people are going for Easter and the doctors are on strike and different medical departments have been shut down. And you know, basically what happens in Africa during this kind of celebration, I don't want to say people normally get so overwhelmed. There's normally a lot of accidents and eventualities taking place. So all these are happening when various departments in our health sectors have been shut down because of a strike. Doctors need their CBA to be honored. They want the returns to be employed and paid, such kind of things. So maybe you can just give us your opening remarks and your feeling, how your Easter was.
Oh, my Easter was okay. I don't really do anything for Easter, so I just took it as a time to have for myself because yeah, I was at home alone, and I just took some time for myself just to think about life and other things that are going on. But it's a thing that I've heard about the doctor strike in Kenya, and it's a big issue because healthcare is something very basic, and in some countries, you know, like healthcare is viewed as a right, and some countries like Canada, healthcare is universal, it's free, you know, so it's very high priority in some countries, and yet in countries such as Kenya, you find that the people who are supposed to be giving people the healthcare are not taken care of, you know, themselves. They're not compensated enough. There are other issues that they are facing, so they cannot work under those conditions. So the so-called government should take that into priority. And the problem always I see is that the people who can make a difference, the politicians, whatnot, they have options. You know, they have options, but a regular person in Kenya doesn't have options. The very healthcare practitioners that they would have to go to are on strike and they don't have any other options. The politician is probably rich enough where he can go to a private hospital, where he can go to a different country, India, whatever, for a medical procedure. So these issues, they don't hit home to the politicians, and that's why it's not a big deal to them, and they don't feel the urgency to make a difference. Yeah, that's what I think.
Leo, it's interesting that the doctor who is treating you does not have health insurance.
Yeah.
The doctor who is treating a patient does not have health insurance. No, that is the scenario. The doctor giving you treatment does not have health insurance, does not even have comprehensive health insurance. That is some of the things that they are negotiating, and they want it to be given, but to be issued. Yeah, the government can give a directive that this should be implemented. That is so basic. They need to get.
That is so basic. Yeah. It doesn't even seem like something that people should be arguing about or sitting down to talk about. That should just be something that you're given as a right, as a as a medical practitioner, you know. So I just view Kenyan politicians as a big joke in very many ways. Yeah.
Politicians are really joking because, okay, the doctors don't have health insurance, and actually that is one of the things they need. They want a comprehensive health insurance for themselves and their dependents. But when it comes to our MPs, they're having one of the best insurance covers that somebody would imagine of. And most of them, even if you look at their academic qualifications and such kind of things, we don't need to talk about. So it worries you that as a country, are we heading somewhere? So one will believe that this kind of rot is long overdue, and
Leo, you're hanging up.
Amekatika.
Ni kama leo network ni mbaya. I think the issue was trying to bring across is the crisis that we have. Nick, that hiyo ndio maoni ile iko pale kwa ground. People are so disappointed. Watu wako disappointed sana. Leo, if you're back, tell us when you're back. People are so disappointed with na huyu CS. I remember hata CS wa kitambo, they had the same problem. So this is the issue that has been going on in Kenya for quite some time now.
Yeah, and you can't isolate just healthcare as an issue, because it's just the same politics that's a problem in so many other sectors. The politics and the politicians. It's just the corruption in the system. You know.
Yeah,
just the corruption in the system
just too much. The corruption is too much, and the politician is just keeping quiet. Perhaps you need to do some song about it. You know, you need to do something about pass some message to our people and to the government about the crisis that is looming.
Yeah.
Now we need to do something very, very soon. Otherwise, hatutakuwa na nchi hivi. Nick?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't. Nilikuwa umepotea kidogo.
Oh, nimerudi. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Oh, nilikuwa nimepotea. Let me remove. Just hold on a bit. I need to remove one of. Hillary, can you say something as I sort out this technical issue?
Zalendo, can you hear me?
Yeah. Say
All right.
something.
Okay, yeah, we are going to be back. I think did it the network was
Yeah, I think on Leo the browser is slipping on Leo's side.
Okay. But I can hear you well.
Yeah, just continue with the topic. We have Nixon on board. Nixon is here in the US. We are trying to still talk about the same issue. Oh God.
Nixon, I think he has network issues.
No. I need to log out one. Can you, Hillary,
Yes,
continue with the issue?
Oh, okay.
Give your submission.
Oh, about health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nixon is back. I think yeah, thank you so much, Africa. I know maybe network issues, but those who are listening and those who have been there, we've been talking about health issues in Kenya. We have seen doctors are on strike, nurses are on strike at the moment. And also we are seeing Babu Owino is saying that you want the CS under health ministry to resign because of the things that is happening. We are seeing there's no any serious talk about health issue back home, and it's so unfortunate that our people are dying. And now, Dixon, what is your take about this? What do you think?
I already gave my my take. I was here before.
Oh, you were here before. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but what I can add to
I
what I had said earlier is just that the issue is not cannot be isolated as healthcare. It's the whole system. The whole system is corrupt, and the whole system needs to be looked at, and there needs to be something that is done about the whole system, because it's not a healthcare issue only. You can find all these issues in every other sector in Kenya. The corruption is messing up everything. The politicians are messing up everything. So it's the whole system, that is causing these issues, not only in healthcare but in every other sector in Kenya.
I hear you, but you mentioned something. You mentioned something about the corruption. What can we do to solve this? Because if it is system and the same people we are seeing coming in the political arena, and the people that we're voting, because even in coming 2027, the same people will go for the same seat. So what do you think that we can do to make the system, most of the Kenyan system, to work? Because as long as we are still seeing the same faces coming along as the leaders, we don't expect any big change.
Yeah, that's you said it. We need new faces. We need new faces. We need younger leaders. Like the guy in Senegal, he's only 40 something, 44 years old, the new person who just came in. And he's coming with fire, and he's talking about making a whole change in the country. like doing away with the French and like doing away with neo-colonialism. That's the one thing that we want to look at in every country in Africa. Doing away with neo-colonialism and having Africans stand up on their own 2 feet as themselves, because there's nothing that we lack in Africa. We can do everything by ourselves, you know. So having leaders such as that, like the guy who just started his presidency in Senegal, Kenya needs something like that too. Young minds who have an understanding of the issues that are facing young people, you know, who have an understanding of the issues that are facing a majority of the people, and those are the people that we need in Kenyan governance at this point, because we've seen the same old faces for so long, and nothing is changing because they don't have any new ideas, and the ideas that they have are only the same that are based on corruption that we've seen for so many years. So we need new faces, we need new minds and new ideas in order for this corruption thing to be taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah, Nixon, was Mr. Lendo coming? I see you're talking about the young leadership, but I want to give you example with Nairobi County. I don't think Sakaja. I don't think whether it is 40, and since he came to the office, we're just seeing a leader, a young person that's just talking about the TikTok things. He's not even condemning the I don't know whether you've seen what has been happening in Nairobi County. People are being beaten on the street with those whole callers as carries. So what do you think about this? Because we are seeing these young people also have been tested. One example I'm giving you that we have now is Sakaja, and you know Nairobi is the capital city. Nairobi is Kenya itself. So what is your comment about that as Mzalendo coming in? In the context of a young person.
Yeah. For young leaders, yes, but also by that I also meant young revolutionary leaders. That's why I gave an example of the Senegalese president, you know. Young revolutionaries, people who don't care about being crucified for speaking the truth and doing the right thing, because doing the right thing is always going to get you in trouble with the system if the whole system is doing the wrong thing, you know. But we need at least a few of people who have those kind of mentality in order for this system to change. Because yes, there's young leaders, but if you're a young leader and you still have the mentality of the old leaders, which is just about corruption, then nothing is going to change. By saying young leaders, I meant young revolutionary leaders. Yeah, leaders who want to see change and are ready to make the sacrifice for that change to take place.
I see. I hear you. Yes, Nzalendo, what do you think? I hear Nixon is talking about the young leadership, mostly in Africa, and he gave an example of of Senegal that we are seeing fire is coming as 44 years old. But also, I want to remind you, Nixon, as Mzalendo coming in, I think the president of Gabon was 36 when he came to the power. He was the youngest African leader that maybe has been in the power for a while. But Mzalendo, let us go back to Kenya, the context of Kenya. What do you think about this young leadership we're talking about? More so, we are seeing Nairobi County being led by the youngest governor.
But you see, yes, thank you, Hilary. That's a very important example that you gave out there. And Nixon really gave a good answer. They should not just be leaders. They should be revolutionary leaders. And revolution means that these are people with who can take risks, you know, very, very huge risks. They can go to jail because of what they believe in. These are people who are struggling, who are not looking for a paycheck. Yeah. These are people who are not looking for a paycheck at the end of the day. These are people who have created positive change in the society, that people can say whatever they are standing for is what everybody believes in, is the right thing. Yeah, these are the kind of revolutionary leaders that we want. This is somebody who is telling you that I want to go into government and finish corruption in a month. There will be no corrupt officer. I will go into government and arrest everyone who is perceived to be corrupt or who has a corruption case. All the ill-gotten wealth will be snatched by the government. Kenya does not have that kind of leader. Amongst all the leaders that you are seeing, there is nobody in Kenya that represents that kind of vision. We have leaders who are looking upon the older generation to give them direction. They don't have a brain of their own. That is the problem that we have in Kenya. Look at, for instance, Bobi Wine. Who is behind Bobi Wine? Bobi Wine started with music as an artist, but today he has got followers, people who believe in him. Look at the struggles, look at the pain, look at how many times he has been incarcerated by the government of Museveni. This tells you that this is a leader that will represent the views of the people. Yeah, but in Africa, you don't know if they are going to change with the time. But it is time for the young people to be confident enough and go for the top seat. You don't go for just the MP, go for the top seat. Believe in yourself that you can be the president of the Republic of Kenya, and you'll have people backing you. Kenyans can support anything. If they supported Wajakoya, ule alikuwa anasema he will be selling hyena testicles, makende ya fisi anayakuuza, and alipata votes. If they can support such a person, so it means that there is a group of voters. And remember, Hillary, 8 million Kenyans did not vote. They didn't think that Ruto is the right candidate or Raila Odinga is the best man for the job. So they are hanging on there. There are those who just vote for tribalism. Hiyo ndio tena another problem in the country, mambo ya ukabila, tribalism. I have asked several times this important question. For example, in Hillary, how has tribe helped you in your life? Tribalism imekusaidia kivipi? How has tribe helped you in your life? You'll find that how has being a Luya or a Luo or a Kikuyu helped you in your life? You don't have any answer. You don't have any answer. I believe society should be integrated. That is one thing I believe in. Let me hard to keep. That's somebody who wanted to join. Yeah, I believe society, we are in a situation where society should be integrated, but not on tribal lines. We should have a country of one tribe called Kenya, Africa of one tribe called Africa. We should not look at each other in terms of tribe. That is the biggest problem in our country, and that's why we have disservices in most of these sectors. Because Nakhumicha most likely was fronted by a politician to take up that job. So hiyo ndio shida tuko nayo, and I hope I have attempted to.
But Nixon, I got to come back to you, because you said that we need new faces, and also we need young people in the seat, maybe in the coming election. Do you think that we have these people who are Pan-African? If we check Kenya, or we check the upcoming leaders who want to be leaders, do we see that people have their own independent mind to lead our people, to lead the country? Do you see that kind of the leaders? Maybe, for example, like the Faye of Senegal.
I think there is potential for that everywhere, and Kenya is no exception. It's just that maybe people don't believe in themselves enough and they think that even if they try, they won't make it anyway, because the same leaders have been in place for so long and they just keep interchanging them. And so people don't think that they have that capacity to be up there as leaders, really, you know. But the people themselves, among all those Kenyans, there are people who have that leadership mentality, and there are people who have gone through so much pain that they would want to see change. I believe that it's just that they don't have, they don't believe in themselves enough to want to make the move, you know. And as Mzalendo said, they need to believe in themselves enough, and people will rally behind them if they do so, you know. And for another thing that I wanted to add is that the diaspora, people in the diaspora like me, Mzalendo, and other Kenyans who are in the diaspora can also make a big impact in things like this, because we are able to see things from a distance, and we've also been able to we've also been exposed to systems that work, you know, in other, for example, for us where we live here in the US, systems that work. And also there is when you're in Kenya, there is that fear that somebody will come after you, you know, if you try to say something or do something. But here we have the privilege of being able to say those things and being able to do those things without necessarily having that fear, that immediate fear. Maybe when you travel home, somebody might come after you, but we can, I believe in the diaspora, if people are active enough, we can make a change in the ground, at least making because it's all in the mind. So if we can influence enough people to have that mentality that we can make a change, then I think leaders will just emerge out of that mentality that people in the diaspora inflict in them. So I think this is a good forum because it connects people in the diaspora and people in Kenya. And through forums like this, we can influence each other, and I believe that leaders can emerge out of that. We ourselves in the diaspora can become leaders, and also we can influence other leaders in the country. Yeah.
But, thank you, Nixon. But I've been on the issue of diaspora. We have seen people coming like Nixon, coming from US, coming from Canada, coming from Australia. Name them. They go home, they be MPs, they be the governors, but we don't see any changes. You know, we have seen so many people come from America, they go back home. I want to give you an example. Like now, the guy who's is called Basil. I think he's in from Kitui West or Kitui. I think he was stayed in the US for a long time. Actually, he was staying in Boston, and he went down there as now is one of the member of parliament. But we don't see the implementations. We thought that maybe when you see these people coming from diaspora, you'll bring the system in a small way, even in your constituency. But we are not also seeing all this impact. Do you think that and do you think that can bring change? And also, do you think diaspora people, they need to come together first, and then coming together will help us to identify the leaders who can work? Than you come, Hillary just come from Canada, going home and again be MP, but the same people, just the same people who are back home there. What do you think from there? Because I just think that also there's not much connection about the diaspora people. We just hear that Hillary was staying in Canada, Hillary is now in Kenya, want to vie for MP, Hillary is now MP. We don't see any changes, and yet he has been staying in Canada or in US for a while.
Yeah. To answer your first question, I believe it comes down to the same idea that these people, whether they're from the diaspora or living in Kenya, they have to have that revolutionary mindset, you know, because they need to have that element of really wanting to make change and being willing to do anything to make that change happen, you know, and not having that mentality. And then when you go to Kenya and you become an MP, you immediately get sucked into the system there, and you forget where you are, why you wanted to be an MP in the first place, and the changes that you wanted to make. So even the people from the diaspora, they need to have that revolutionary mindset. And for myself, I know that if I make that decision, I know that I will do it wholeheartedly, you know. I know that I can do it wholeheartedly. And in terms of coming together, I think, yes, it's a good idea for people in the diaspora, like-minded people, to come together with that same mentality of revolutionary, like making a change in the system that will impact everything and everybody in every sector in a positive way, you know. And like I said, the people in the diaspora have been exposed to other things and systems that work. And so if people who are really looking for change come together and start exchanging ideas, like in forums like this, and then out of those people, leaders emerge, you know, I think that can be something very powerful. And there needs to be accountability also, because like you said, people have come from the diaspora, maybe people believed in them, and then after some time people see no change. But people need to be held accountable. Like you said you will do this. How far have you gone with this plan? Why hasn't this happened yet? You know, things like that. And people in the diaspora should be the ones who are actually leading that accountability program. I think, because if they've come together and they've identified a person as a potential leader, then they should hold him accountable for the changes that they are supposed to make.
Yeah, I think just to add on what Nixon have been saying is that, you know, this is one sentence, putting your interests above every other interest. That is what is happening in Kenya now. The leader we are looking for is a leader who will put the interest of the people above his interest. That is the kind of leader we are looking for, and the kind of leader that will come with a political formation that addresses this concern, the concern of the people. William Ruto came with that concern that he is going to uplift the poor above his own selfish interests. But he didn't do that. So we need, because he was already up there, we need somebody who is rising from the ashes, all right? Somebody who is rising from the ashes to build a political career or a political movement. And this person must be intelligent. Where I differ with Nick a bit is that at the same time we criticize the Europeans and all that Africa has to have its own kind of formation. And again, we look upon them with their system of governance that we want to borrow, because here, when you live here, you have got a cautious that systems are working, and borrow that idea and implant it in Kenya. So that again tells you that Africa needs partners. They need the white people also to teach them their ways of governing other sectors, because some of the things that you see today in Kenya are completely destroyed. The infrastructure, the planning, and all that. was left by the white man. Yeah, by the white man. There is something that we must agree that we lack. There is something that we must agree that we lack. You cannot be complete as Africa or as a black man. You need somebody else to help you guide whatever vision that you have. Yes, we have all the resources, but we don't have the equipment and the technology to harness our resources. All right. That is the issue that is not being addressed. It's not being addressed in South Africa. It is not being addressed with African leaders. We need development partners so that we borrow from their technology as much as we have the resources, but we need their technology. We need their ways of governance. Yeah, you need to have that cautious that when you go to Europe, throwing a plastic or dirt or maybe a cigarette filter on the road is not something that is allowed. Peeing anywhere is not something that is allowed. You come from a country where you can pee anywhere, but when you get to the US, you realize that there is a system, there is a law that you'll be held accountable for any action that we do. Accountability of African people and African leaders is what is lacking. Is lacking. They are not accountable for their action. As much as Hillary, we are cautious because there is a law that is looking upon us. Let me tell you, if we were just allowed to live the way we were living in Kenya, yeah, we would be the first thing. Like my tags have expired. Yesterday I was being told they left a note in my vehicle that we are going to tow your vehicle if you don't take your vehicle for inspection in the next few days. Now, look at what they have solved. They have solved the issue of accidents on the road. They have solved the issue of unroadworthy vehicle being on the road. And they have also solved another issue of employment. Yeah, this is a car that will go for inspection. But in Africa, when you introduce something like that to the citizen, they'll say, nyinyi mnatu overtax bwana. We don't want that. That is a bad system. Yeah, that is a bad system. That will not work. You know, things like that. We don't have a lot of civic education when it comes to issues that drive the society. When we come to why we are being taxed and yet we are not receiving services. So those are some of the small things that need to be addressed. And some of us even jumped on the political ring to try and solve the situation. But you find that the electorate that you're dealing with are not informed. They would rather be led by an idiot than be led with somebody who has got a vision or policies that can help them. So that is the problem we have. And the political class have known so well that they are leading a bunch of fools. Na ndio wengi, hiyo ndio shida.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, thank you so much, Nixon, and thank you so much, Mzalendo. But I think, what do you think? Let us come with solution, because sometimes I realize also our conversation has been what is happening, and what do you think? We started with the health, and now we're coming to the young leadership and also the diaspora people. And I want to believe Nixon is in the US, Mzalendo you're in the US, Hillary himself is in Canada, plus other people. What do you think that what we can do? Because also we have seen that the GDP of Kenya is being supported by diaspora. If you check what people are sending home, and even what the Kenyans are generating back home, is only, you realize that the diaspora people are supporting so many projects, so many things that's happening back home. Maybe individually, at yourself, maybe your family, maybe your friends, and anybody. What do you think? What do you think that the diaspora people can do to make sure that our leadership is working the way we are seeing them here? Because here you see the system is working well. What can we do as diaspora people what do you think some solutions or some areas that we need to work on as diaspora people? I can start with you, Nixon, then Zalendo.
Wow, that's a tough question, because it comes back to the leadership and accountability, and it's so hard to hold somebody accountable when you're in the diaspora. So we need to what I think the thing that we can do as people in the diaspora is to influence people to have the mentality of selecting a good leader, and then having, I don't know exactly how it can be done, but having something in place that holds those leaders accountable. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Just having a good leader and
Right.
having them being accountable for what they are supposed to do.
All right, Zalendo, what do you think? I think the accountability is the key factor here.
Yeah, I think in the last government and the diaspora community largely has influenced some of the decisions by ensuring some of their people are appointed. I think in the Ruto's government, maybe one or two people have been appointed in his government through initiatives by the people in the diaspora. Diaspora is a constituency that now is voting in Kenya. But how are the votes? The votes are starting to reap some fruits, especially here in the US. You can now, for a long time, if you wanted to change your passport, you had to come to DC. Nowadays, you sometimes they move around and see whether they can bring the services closer to the people. So those are some of the decisions that the diaspora community have been able to influence. But I think that is piecemeal. That is very, very little regarding that the diaspora community plows in back to the country about, is it 4 billion US dollars annually? 4 billion US dollars annually. You send it to your people. You do a lot of things that the diaspora community do. And diaspora is not only in the US. Diaspora is also in UAE. Diaspora is in Tanzania. Diaspora is in the UK, in Uganda. So diaspora, there are things that we can borrow, not from the Ugandan politics, but from the West. That is where we see at least some decency. They cannot be 100% perfect like where I am. They are failing in a lot of policies, but largely when it comes to issues of governance, they are really strict to the law. One important fundamental issue that I have learned, and this is what has kept societies like America growing, is that they are a working nation. This country does not go to sleep. They don't celebrate holidays the way we celebrate holidays, that leo rais ametupatia holiday. When it's an holiday, most likely you will not be paid on that particular day because hautaenda kazini. On Christmas, you see Kenyans going for holiday from November to January. That's absolute nonsense. Yeah, nimechukua holiday ya Christmas. That economy now stagnates during those particular months that they are not working. So there are things that we can borrow and we can ensure that are put in the Constitution of Kenya, like the working culture of our people. One thing I have appreciated in this country is that people work and you are paid for your sweat. In Kenya, people don't work. I can tell you, you can ask Nixon here, I will tell you that here in this country people work. Watu wanafanya ni modern, ni kama slavery, modern day slavery. Watu wanafanya kazi. If you don't, ukilala hii inchi for a week or a day, hakuna pesa inaingia. If you waste any good given time, there's no money that is coming in. But pia, that is the only way they get taxes to run the economy of the country. So as much as the president is introducing taxes, they need to educate people what these taxes can do for them. And they need to see, the citizens need to see that these taxes are actually working for us. And if you are paying enough good taxes that run the government, then kuna ile hii nchi kuna ile tax refund. Nixon can explain that because that is his field. Kuna ile refund unapata kwa serikali. I think this is what forums like this need to advise the government on, especially KRA ya Kenya. Watu kama unatosa ushuru, hiyo ushuru isiende tu hivyo, lazima uwarudishie hiyo pesa, kwa sababu you have traded with it, you have done services with it, they need it back, because that money at the end of the day belongs to the people.
Thank you so much, Zalendo and Nixon. I think, yeah, Nixon said that might be difficult for the diaspora people, but I think we still have influence. If any case that we can have a real good leadership in diaspora, whereby maybe regionally, US and North America coming together, Kenyans coming together, have something, Europe the same, Uganda, East Africa, Tanzania, those people are there, are coming and doing something together, then we can have much influence than even today. Because even these people, you see, they be president, they're still running, coming to meet people outside here. They want us to support them. So I think we have influence, but also we are seeing good fruits, because last year we started voting as diaspora people, last election. I want to believe that if this continue, will bring us together and also make the diaspora people be. But let us come back home again. Mzalendo, umeongea juu ya KRA. Hii KRA, ukweli ni kwamba Wakenya wajaiona matunda yake tangu ianze mpaka wa leo, kwa sababu nchi kama hizi unatoa ushuru, mwaka ukiisha, unapopeana ushuru unapata kitu kidogo, na hata kama upate kitu kidogo unapata barabara imefanya jambo, amefanya nini. Lakini in Kenya, Nixon, we have not seen these things happening, and that's why I was saying that we need Pan-African leadership. We need young people to come up, and because we need also young people, young power, but also not young people, but we need people who have minds that can lead the people. We want to see the leadership. What we lack really is leadership, because the truth is we have people who are making noise, but the truth is there's no leadership. People are not feeling the leadership that they want, because that's the person that can give direction, the person that can make things work for the people, the person that can make things moving here and there. Like, for example, we are seeing accidents in Kenya every day. Many students have lost their life. Many people, individuals, are losing their lives. Even the police themselves, they are losing their life every day. But we're not seeing these things being addressed properly. You know, we are seeing that people are dying in the hospitals. We don't see that this thing is being addressed properly. Mpaka tunaona mheshimiwa Babu Owino ndiye anatoka anasema kwamba sasa hii iwezekani, mpaka huyu Nakhumicha lazima aende nyumbani. Unaona kwa nini mheshimiwa president ama rais yeye anasema nini kuhusu haya mambo yote ambayo yanafanyika, kwa sababu yeye ndiye aliweka watu viongozini. So tunataka watu ambao, as much as we need young leaders, also we need young leaders who can stand up and talk, and I think this is what we are lacking. And the way you said it, I think it is high time even for us, wherever we are, where Kenyans are, to come out and start speaking about this thing openly, and don't fear anything. And from there we will find best leaders in coming general election, because Kenyans lack leadership. Kenyans lack, what we are seeing, what we're talking about is corruption. But until when? Since 1963 up to date, we are still just crying of bad roads, bad hospitals. I talked to one of the doctors who was saying that if you go to hospitals, there's not even good labs. There's no laboratory in the hospitals. People are being transferred to best hospital, like the one that we know in Kenyatta. But before he reach Kenyatta, he's dead on the road because of a simple thing that it could have been tackled in Kisumu or in any other area. So I think there are so many factors that we need to talk about. But we need young people to come up, those who want to be leaders, but they need not now to put their mind in corruption. So I think these are things that we are trying to address. There are viewers who are there watching. You can come on board and also you can share your idea. Zalendo, what do you think? What do you think that that these young tax leaders in Kenya? What do you think? Where do you see Kenya coming? Do you see that we're gonna have young leaders, or these old guard are still taking chances of leading our country?
No, the problem, I've told you where the disconnection, why they are not connected to the people. The people want to be connected to the young leadership, but they are not connected. For one, they fear. They fear. When you see somebody like Sakaja, he has not been running in his own vision. He has been running on the vision of William Ruto. When you see Babu Owino, he does not articulate his vision. He does not articulate what he wants to do for the country. He doesn't articulate any of his vision. What he rather comes up with is a reactionary statements. We need a leader who articulates selflessness, a leader who we can trace where his wealth is coming from. We need a leader who we know that this gentleman is intelligent. He has been successful in whatever field, whether it is in music, whether it is in art, or whether it is in business, whether it is in farming. That this is success that we have seen, and this is somebody who can, if given a chance, can be a good leader for the Republic of Kenya. If he's coming from the diaspora, we want to see what he has managed before. There are big companies that are here in the US. We want to see him having had a chance to be in a position where he has managed human beings, because and resources. Yes, it's not just managing the people, but managing resources of your country. So we need that kind of selfless leader who sacrifices everything. We need a leader who will live in an apartment in Umoja Estate and be the president of the Republic of Kenya. I don't know whether we can achieve that. Yeah, we need somebody who ametoka pale Kayole, anaishi kwa flats, but when you hear this person talking, if he's given a chance to speak to the people, people feeling, people understanding, people know that this is somebody who represents us. Yeah, and there are those people. There are those people. When you hear people like Nuru Okanga, for example, he would have been a good leader, but he's not educated. So that is now another problem. He can articulate the issues, but again, he comes in with the umbrella of Raila Odinga, somebody like that. You see, that is now an inferior version of Babu Owino. An inferior version of Johnson Sakaja. So we need somebody out of that kind of class of people, somebody to rise amongst the people and command. You've seen that video of John Lewis at the age of 23. He was able to command a movement. Yeah, a movement, and people would listen to him because his speeches were well articulated, addressing the issue of the moment. When you hear our political leaders talking, is that they want power. ile kitu wanataka muhimu zaidi ni kuwa kwa serikalini na kuwa na mamlaka na kuwa na ile uongozi. They just stamp that mimi nataka kuwa president, I want to be the president, I want to be your governor, I want to be your governor, but none of them articulates the policies on education. For example, Hillary, angalia mambo ya education. Kibaki was able to implement free primary education. During our years, primary education was not free. But Kibaki managed to implement free primary education in Kenya. People thought that it is impossible. Now, sahi MPs wako na CDF, yet they cannot implement free secondary education. And one reason, if they implement free secondary education, the CDF will be gone. So they would rather stay with the 250 million, but not create policies in parliament that is going to help the people. Hakuna MP wowote. Babu Owino, I will use his example because he said that his mother was selling changa and struggling to pay school fees. And all these MPs, majority of them will tell you, Kina John Mbadi, they will tell you that their mother used to do what, and struggle to pay school fees for them. But look what they're doing. They have got nothing, zero. Hawana, instead of saying, hey, me, I don't want children to suffer the way I suffered, wacha ni a drafty policy, I go to my UDA counterparts, or the UDA counterpart goes to an Azimio counterpart and say, our people need this. Mr. President, this is what our people need. Free secondary education. Hiyo CDF hata ikae, lakini upatie watu free secondary education.
I hear you. But you see, I think Nixon said that, and you see, like somebody like Tom Mboya, we are seeing at the age of 30 is ferrying people to US airlifting. You know, he's the one who started that. But the year of 20s, that is late 20s, people are hearing him because he died at 99, and by that time he was having a very big influence. By that time, what happened all this time? What happened, Nixon? What is happening, man? I see Mzalendo is talking of several issues here. What is your take?
My take on what?
Exactly. On this issue of the leadership and accountability, because what we have is we have public speakers, I don't know, public motivational speaker, I can call them. Like they come there, oh, my mother was carrying omena, my mother was doing boy. How does that help people on the ground today?
These people are not. If they shouldn't even mention those stories. If they don't show the impact of those stories on how their leadership is, you know, because the reason for mentioning those stories in the first place should be to show people that this is what I've done as a result of what my mother had to go through to bring food to the table, to get me to pay my school fees, you know. So these leaders, they don't have a lot of them don't have independent thought. You know, they rally behind, say, the policies of Ruto or whoever is in power at the time, because they want to keep up the status quo, because they know if they deviate, then they'll be kicked out or something like that will happen to them. But what we need is people who don't mind being crucified or being paying the price for doing what is right. That is what we need, because all these people are just being on the safe side. Because for me, like, I know my stories, and I had an interview with Mzalendo, and he knows my stories too. Those are the same kinds of situations I grew up in. So I don't see myself being a leader and then not taking into consideration what I went through, and not using my position to make the lives of people better, to make the people not have to go through what I went through. That would be my motive as a leader. You know, a leader should pave the way for the people who follow. That's the reason for being a leader, paving the way for the people who follow behind you. So if you know that what you went through was so tough, then you should pave way so that your children and your children's children don't have to go through what you went through, you know. And it shouldn't be about personal interest. It should be for the interest of the people behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, when we went through your story, and I said one day I will also share my story, because my story is tutashare tu siku ingine story yetu. When Nick told me story vile alikuwa alikula chips ya mwalimu 20 bob when he was sent na mwalimu kununua chips na 20 bob, akaenda akakula hiyo kakirudi. You know that story is very interesting. But you see, kwa nini alikula? Not because he had gone home for lunch, akakosa chakula, hakuna chakula home. Then here is giving you 20 bob to go and buy chips for him or her pale kwa fish and chips. Then you end up eating that chips, unaikula kabisa. Then anakuja na kutafuta, and then they are not able to find you in school. So that's what many families pass through. So somebody like Nick akipata leadership, he'll remember that one day kama kuna watoto wanaenda shule bila chakula.
Ndio.
Kuna watoto wanaenda shule na hiyo lunch hata wajaona. How many leaders know that? Hiyo lunch hata wajaona because their parents cannot afford it. They cannot put even 3 meals or 2 meals in a day. So those are the situations in our country. I was telling also Nick that in sometimes in my life I was homeless. Nilikuwa naishi Sabina Joy na kunywa soda ya Fanta the whole night na ama Coke. That nikae hapo for so many hours, because that was the only nightclub that was allowed to operate 24 hours without people being thrown out. So here you are, a young teenager, umekaa pale, umenunua soda, then was about 7 shillings or 5 bob. Unaenda unainunua, unasip soda na straw. Unajua one sip at an hour. An hour. Ikifika around 5-6 unaimaliza. Then the maids wale waiter wanakuja wanamwaga maji kwa floor ya pub, inakuosha miguu. Hey, kijana amka. Unafanya nini hapa? Amka. Watu wameenda nyumbani bwana, wewe bado uko hapa. Then the next day you'll continue with that kind of life. So we all have a story. We all have a story, where you come from, where we've come from. And it's an interesting story when you tell people that respect the journey, where pale tumetoka. When somebody like Churchill Nambuki akikwambia story vile alikuwa anahan 800 Kenya shillings, you think it's a joke. Anapewa check ya 800, hii ndio mshahara yako, anatembea mpaka Otolo. Tuko na yeye hapa, tunaenda
alikuwa mtu wa Madu Makadara.
Churchill Nambuki. Today is a millionaire. So those people have got a story where they came from. But the problem is sometimes you forget the journey. You can easily forget the journey when you get to position of leadership. And that is what happens to most of our leaders. Money has corrupted their minds, and they can no longer serve the people of Kenya. And it's unfortunate that we have reached that point and revolutionaries are needed in our country. Revolutionary are people with integrity, people with empathy, people who will look at a situation back at home. Saizi Hillary, as we speak in Kenya, if you have a patient with cancer and they need some treatment, the biopsy, your tissue, because cancer patients, unless it is breast cancer, biopsy is flown to South Africa. That tissue is flown to South Africa, so in a South African lab, ndio wanapatia oncologist wa Kenya formula ya kutibu ama chemo ile they will apply to the particular patient.
Oh.
In this age,
wow,
we don't have a lab that can diagnose, can look into the tissues, can do a biopsy in Kenya. It has to be flown to Africa,
India,
or India. So as the patient is waiting, cancer is progressing. South Africa wako na workload because most of the countries in Africa, they don't have the technology, and the governments have not invested. They don't even see the need of such a thing. They are just there. We have a CS like Nakhumicha who does not even know that that thing exists. And maybe president doesn't even know. Health minister is not even that's why a president has a cabinet. They should know what is happening in the health sector. It is unfortunate that some of these things happen in our country, and leadership is in the wrong hands. Leadership is in the wrong people, people who cannot provide services for the people. Yeah.
true.
Yeah, hiyo ni ukweli. Unajua sasa sisi tunasahau story ambazo tulipitia, kwa sababu kila najua kila mtu ako na story yake, lakini mi nasema hivi, story ulipitia cannot make you a good leader. Mimi I believe on that. Whether you pitia story gani, if you're not a leader, you're not a leader. You know, because like Churchill cannot be a politician, but can be a very good comedian. Somebody like Nyambane tried to be CG president. Those are jabba. Anadhani kali act kama President Moi can be a president. You know, these are the things that we are joking with our people, you know. So I'm just saying this, that being in that you are acting like somebody leader, it doesn't make you a leader. I want to say that leadership, one thing is being born, you're born a leader. Number two, you can learn to be a leader and you be a good leader, in the sense that you be a Pan-African leader, the one that Nixon was talking about, you know. So these are the things that I think we are still lacking. And also this thing, as somebody I saw wrote it there, Mzalendo anasema kwamba hii kitu iko DNA, iko kwa damu yetu, ambayo ya kwamba ulizaliwa leo, umezaliwa tu ukiwa mwizi. Yani wewe kichwa yako tu umeanza kufikiria tu vile wewe utaiba watu ama vile utanyakua kwa watu. Kwa hivyo tumezaliwa nayo na lakini
ila nikupatia another example that tutacheka kidogo. Unaona hizi KCSE exams vile zinaibiwa, parents ndio wanaibia watoto wao, parents wanaibia,
wananunua mtihani kwa ajili ya watoto wao waweze kupita.
Haya, sasa pia now the biggest problem, mtoto amepita na ma Hillary, umecelebrate mtoto wa kazini yako, mtoto wa nani, huyu mtoto is very very bright, lakini sasa selection imekuja ya akaitwa medical, anaenda kufanya medicine Nairobi University, barua yake calling letter imeshakuja. The same parent anasema hapana, huyu mtoto wangu hii wacha tuachane nayo, wacha afanye HR ama afanye inaitwaje ile procurement tena ndiye akuwe mwizi zaidi.
Ama enda kuwe mwalimu. Hizo vitu zinafanyika, mtu anapata
mwalimu hana pesa, hawezi taka ualimu,
anaenda huko
usingine anatafuta course kama procurement,
kitu ya pesa,
anaweza enda ibe pesa, yani wazazi pia ni wezi, wanatafuta mahali aende aibe pesa, na huyu mzazi ndio utampata ana complain ya serikali mbaya sana.
Lakini nafikiria kwamba we need to create all these platforms like this so that we can address these issues. I think such platform like Africa 24 is one of the platforms that people need to support. People need to come here to support so that we can address these issues and talk on real talks, whereby we say what is happening even unto ourselves, and then we create good leaders that can lead our people when even if we are not there. But the trend, the way it is going, I don't know the coming generation, because also the country has been corrupt in a way that even people are becoming more lazier. People are just looking money, so it means that time is coming whereby will not have leaders, even that wale wako hapo sahi ni afadhali kuliko wale wote wanakuja, kwa sababu kila mtu ukiona sahi mtoto anazaliwa anafika university, kazi yake ni kufikiria pesa. Na ameona kijana mmoja mdogo amejinyonga a second year, alipewa school fees akaenda kucheza nayo betting, ikaibu, akaamua sasa ajiende, akakumbuka vile mamake alikuwa anateseka shago, akajipata kwa nyumba kama amejinyonga. Last week last week kijana wa Nairobi University amejinyonga kwa sababu alitumia pesa kwa betika akifikiria. Na si yeye tu, ni wengi ambao wanacheza hizi mambo za betika kwa sababu wanataka pesa. Asikuze wasome.
Alibet game ya Arsenal na Man City.
Sijui alibet game gani, labda hii Man U na Chelsea.
No, Arsenal na Man City.
So wakajinyonga, na si yeye tu, hiyo ni ile litangazwa. Wacha nikwambie, vijana wengi wanakufa bwana kwa ajili ya hii corruption, kwa sababu imeingia kwa mwili. Wengi wameingia kwa hizi mambo za madawa, ama wameingia kwa TikTok kuonyesha vitu zao huko, mambo za ningono tu ndio wanafikiria, alafu waweze kutengeneza hela ambayo si njia nzuri.
TikTok is a disgrace bana. Hata hiyo ukiona what people are doing there, man,
si mzuri. Kwa hivyo nadhani such forums should be created more, and also when the such platforms which are there, people should come out and support so that we can have real talk and we create more leaders. What we are trying to say here, that we need vigorous leaders, we need Pan-African leaders, we need leaders who will stand to the people, so the rights of the people should be seen. Omutata tried when he was young. I don't know, that mzee is now getting old. I don't see nowadays anajifunga na nyunyororo zile alikuwa anajifunga nazo pale kwa amepata senator amenyamazishwa. Sasa hizi ndio tatizo tunaona, pia watu wanakuwa moto akiingia kwa ofisi anajaribu kuleta kichwa, ananyamazishwa, story inaisha. Sasa hii ndio tatizo bwana. So hii mambo ya uuaji pia iko, ukiongea ukweli watu wanaogopa pia, unaweza uawa dakika kidogo. Sasa kuna mambo mengi ambayo yanaendelea, ambayo yanataka the new blood to come with a new system and to change everything, and people to get that you need to work for what you want, not get things that even you didn't work for. It belongs to other people, you want to take them by force. I think those are the things that we need to talk about. So leadership is a call to everyone, even us. We need to call out, we need good leaders, and the young people who are coming up, we need to encourage them that we need vigorous leaders. We need leaders who are thinking, leaders who will work to the people and for the people, and to know that the life that they're living, even other people want to live that life. When they know that, and they should know that they will not live forever. You live, you'll be there. But we need leaders like Hitler. I like some characteristics of Hitler. When he was young, and he came out and he said that I must rule, and he ruled, and people were following things. If you see that time, as much as he was dictator, but he was doing things. We need leaders like Magufuli. I hope the Senegal leader, as much as I see he has a zeal and everything, it won't be just a talk, but we want to give him time. Then we see if the changes will come up in Senegal, So these are the leaders that we are calling for, because like this health issue, these are serious thing, man. If you see how people are dying, children are dying back home, or in hospitals in Kenya, is not easy. People are getting accidents, they are going to hospital, there's no drugs, there's no doctors, there's no nurses. What is next? They just die, That's
crazy.
Yeah, so it's not easy, man. It's not easy. So I just think that Nixon, this conversation need to go on, and we see what what we can do. Zalenda, I don't know how long you're still here, but come again to this health. What do you think this guy? I know you talked about it, but do you think that the CS who the CS who has been there, does she know what he's doing? And also, I think the health was devolved, right?
Yeah.
It was devolved, but what do we see any counties doing anything about it?
No, not really.
I think we need to go just for the next maybe 5 minutes, then we close.
Okay.
You've done a very, very good job. Continue doing this, and I think we have now a new moderator in Africa. Yeah, I didn't know, Hilary, that you are excellent in whatever you're doing. You did better than myself. So
No.
I do have a friend in Chicago who I think will be very interested in this.
All right.
Wow.
does
Nick, we need that guy like yesterday.
He does because I used to live in Chicago. Actually, we were roommates for some time, and he has a YouTube channel that he addresses issues like this from back home. So I'll be sure to invite him for the next one.
Oh yeah,
But
thanks. We would like to have him. We'd like to meet him so that
but
we
for
can have
me,
this
I really
conversation. This
want
conversation
to.
has to go on in all the forums, so that the government needs to hear what people are saying. It is important that we keep on having this discussion. I think here in Africa we have it quite frequently, and almost each and every day on the topics that are arising. Leaders who are doing a bad job, we call them out. The ones that are doing a good job, we also call them out without being biased. So we try to be neutral, and at the same time, just as Hilary said, it is not just talk.
Yeah,
we
that's
have
what I was
talked.
going to say.
We come up with solutions.
Yeah,
We don't want to talk.
want to.
And at the
really
end of the
want to.
day, we are proposing that let Raila be the president. We are not having, that is not a solution. So let the conversation go on. As we wind up, I'm just preparing the montages. You guys continue because I was on the phone. With computer kidogo.
Nick ni sawa, mimi niko Canada hapa kidogo. Also I run Twitter stock spaces called Luo Nation. Luo Nation is Onagi for Onagi, but also it encompasses everybody. We usually invite different speakers coming on board. We talk. Actually, on Saturday I have a speaker talking about dental issues, dentist issues, whereby she will talk about in children now toothache in children. She will be addressing that. Tomorrow I have one of the leaders from Nairobi, from TUM University. The student leader is coming there to talk about. He's a young man. Tell him to talk about how the university are talking. So yeah, well, let us keep on this conversation on and on. And I'm happy to meet you, bro.
Me too.
I know we will meet in this conversation. I've been here. I've been attending this conversation, and we want to keep it more live. We want to connect all of them. Most of the diaspora. I like the Africa because in the diaspora we lack this platform. So we want to connect all of them. Then they be something like one. This one is supporting this one. This supporting this one, and we grow together as a team. And so we want to create. And that's why I was saying that how can diaspora come together? We want to create such platform. Then we see how this platform can work as a team to support each other. Africa is running this platform. Hilary is running Twitter Spaces. How can they come together? People on Twitter can come to this platform. People on this platform can come to the Twitter. Then we share the ideas, because even my platform, most of the people, it is the idea was to bring the diaspora together. Diaspora people, and we have a conversation as a team. And what can we do? And actually, we have been seeing the effective, because we are just addressing the things that's happening in our villages back home. That how can we reach the people in the village? Those people cannot go to school. How can we help them? How can we encourage them so that they can go to school? And the problems that people are facing from down there, how can we address such issues? Wamama wale wa mboga, how can we address those things so that they be? And also, they should not wait. What we're talking about, and very seriously, that I know will be effective, in 100 years to come is that we don't want politicians going to the village and people are running to see them. No. And people are trying to get 50 bob, 200 shillings, 100 shillings. We want to finish that. We want our people to learn that the politicians need them more than we need them. We need to notice that. And when our people get that in their mind, then we don't have this issue of health talk, the issue of roads, the issue of everything. When we realize that the politicians need us more than we need them, we don't need whether 200 bob. We don't want them to address issues. How can we have good roads? How can we have good schools? How can we have good hospitals? When they know that, they start setting those policies and they realize that people are now waking up, and now people are not being voted according to how you are known, but people are voted of what you can do. People are not. People should not be voted according to the party, but people should be voted in the basis of leadership. Because we usually leave also good leaders, and we select people or we elect people according to the party that he is in. So these things should run on, and I think that's what Mr. Lendo was saying. This tribalism should go away. We should not care about tribalism, but we should care about leadership. If you cannot lead people, if you cannot offer good quality of leadership to the people, there's no need of coming to the people asking voters. But those are how we want to address these issues, and we need to address them that way so that we make sure that our people also are engaged, that they are trained, we have policies being addressed down there, because many people back home, they don't know these policies. I noticed even there's people who have gone to school, they don't know about the policies, they don't know about the laws. People are just there, they are much concerned with what they can get, but that's why many people are being abused, because we don't know our rights. And when we start coming out, people know their rights and everything. People will start speak with one voice, and also not only one voice, but with facts. And when they start speaking about facts, things are gonna be better.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Mzalendo. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it, and I know we'll keep it live all the time. Those who are watching, keep it live, and welcome to Africa 24 all the time. Give your views, watch it, and give all your feedbacks and everything, and welcome on board all the time. Thank you so much, Nick, Mzalendo. God bless you with your team, man.
All right.
Party is a party of principles. But the party of Kennedy is also the party of Islam. The party of Javits is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protest? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police official kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance, presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru, Bed of Roses. Promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Africa 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and mark your calendars. You don't want to miss this. See you there.